Hey there, welcome to episode 21. We are this week here coming at you fast with it's Nick, my friend Nick from Code, NickTheDM on Twitter and Twitch, which I'll link that shit down in the show notes. Yeah, it was really good. We just talked about all sorts of stuff. This is like in all encompassing, somewhere over 4 hours of shit recorded. So this is actually going to come at, I brought this one down to a reasonable amount of human time. So it's about, whatever, however long this one actually turns out to be. But the remaining stuff that we talked about, the stuff that also was good, but it was just so much longer and was really just me listening to him explain Naruto to me, because I get into it a little bit, but I don't really know. I never really paid attention to it. I watched what was on Toonami, and then stuff happened where I stopped watching it. Whatever, gets into it in there. But so that is going to be released as a second entity bonus episode, kind of just story time with Nick, because he's really just explained to me what happens. There's not as much interaction. So I figured, you know what, it's still really good. I really like what's in here. But I don't know if it really fit. I don't want to necessarily release an episode that's over 4 hours long. So cutting that out, having this as it is will be, so there's that. But that one's not going to go. I'm not going through that one with as much a fine-tooth comb that I've gone through with the main episode. So if there's mild sound errors, my apologies. But for the most part, it's just going to be that as that release. That's that bonus episode. This one's really good. Of course, I'm going to get passionate about stuff that doesn't matter. Mostly, we have a really, I would say, a pretty decent Jojo debate where we talk about just Jojo and just Shonen in general. It's kind of this whole what makes a good Shonen, what doesn't. My take on Jojo, and I'm basically it's kind of hard because he's not caught up, or at least he has not caught up to the parts that we're talking about. So parts 5, 6, and 7, he hasn't finished those. So I'm dancing around a lot of spoilers. So my arguments, there are points I could have made stronger arguments utilizing aspects of the story, but I didn't want to spoil it for him. So, but I feel otherwise, we get into kind of just what means to be good, what good manga, good Shonen. So, I thought that was actually super well done. So I hope people like that. Of course, I'm gonna, I do get a little passionate. I get passionate about such crazy shit sometimes, but I feel like it's good. It's needed. I like that. Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed this one. Hopefully he comes back reasonably soon. We just have such a good chemistry and flow from just hanging out with each other. So, and we have similar interests in similar ways of just going about shit. But this is a really good one. So, look forward to this one, and the next one is the will come out at the same time with the bonus episode of that, and then I don't know who's on the next one. We'll figure that out. That's a future time problem. But this is a big long one. Did this one over the internet as well. So multiple track editing and changing certain sound things and fixing stuff, but it was a complicated project, but I thought this one came out really, really good. So I also have a video I released that kind of shows the struggles of what this one was like, because Audacity is dumb and hates to work for me. So there's that as well. If you need more of me in your life, that's on the YouTube channel, part of this organization. It's 20 seconds long, but made me full of chuckles, and I enjoyed doing that a little bit there. So there's that as well. But yeah, so this will be, hope you enjoy everything that I did in the last 3 days. Welcome to episode, I think it's 21. I don't remember. We're here with Nick. What up?
Hi there.
So, yeah, you kind of just reached out, and I'm not one to turn down people coming on the show. If anyone wants to fucking be on, I'm not going to be no. So,
yeah, I figured it'd be fun to just have someone to, bounce stuff off of. I heard you beat Persona 5, so I'm looking forward to that postmortem.
Oh, yeah, that's the second time I've beaten it.
Well, beat it as in defeated the game.
Yeah, I got that platinum. It was about just under 200 hours, maybe 190 something. I could have got the platinum and stopped, and then but I wanted to finish the game because the last trophy I needed was all the social links, and like 4 of them are story attached to the story. And so the last one you get like on the last day leading up to the last boss, you can finish that. So, but that last section between getting that and then beating it was like 3 hours. Cause it's just cutscenes and talking, boss fights, that's a game, man. That's a video game. That's a good video game. I'm a big fan of that Persona 5. Could not recommend that game enough. Ugh, so fun.
That's
it's just a great game. I just loved it so much. I love it. Like I think I was telling you, it knocks Metal Gear Solid 3 out of my top 3 spot, and it's like now that one's up there. It's just what a delightful.
Is like that's a tough contender to fight with, considering like both how good the game was on its own and like historical significance.
Oh yeah, no, it's nuts. And like it's just so crazy to also think that it took till now to knock a game off that list. Like what is that? It's Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy 7, and it was Metal Gear Solid 3. All games that were like on the PS2 or PS1. Like it took till now to usurp one of those, which is crazy. But that is a good video game.
I wonder what that says for like the industry as a whole. Like, have there been a whole lot in like your top 10 or 15 that have been recent? Like, have they been almost getting there?
That's a good question. Let me think. What do I? Like I like things like Journey and Hotline Miami, but I don't know if they would have been like amazing. I don't know. I guess I have a real deep affinity for like JRPGs, and then like them not being
existing.
Yeah, them not just really being good. Yeah, I guess that kind of that fucked with some stuff, but you know, it's been fun. It's been it was worth waiting. But
that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's just it's so well designed, just how everything like works together, and everything flows so well together, and like just the amount of things that can happen in a battle that are like directly affected by like what social links you've leveled up. Like it's so fucking wonderful. It's just everything is worth doing. It's such a great time.
Is it really that many things? Like I know that there was the social links will like buff a party member usually, or like a type of damage, and then you had a couple that let you like rest and stuff. Yeah. But what are some of the wacky ones?
So like in this one, so every party member has like they can withstand a hit. So if they're about to die, they'll go to 1 HP. They can heal what do you call them? Heal status effects off of people. They can. This happens rarely, kind of rarely, but it's if you hit someone with like a basic melee attack and it doesn't kill them, someone will be like, "Hey man, let me jump in and kill this guy for you." And so they'll do like a special attack that is usually either you two like do like a combo attack, or like they do an attack specifically for them, and it's usually like an insta crit, and sometimes it's AoE, sometimes it's just one target, but they'll jump in and do an attack. The baton pass system is new in this one, which is if you're I don't know if you're familiar with Shin Megami Tensei, but when you knock someone down, you get that extra turn.
I've seen it. I haven't actually played the game, so I'm not like super involved, but I've seen that.
Yeah, it's basically like it's like Pokemon, but like with there's an additional reward. So if you knock someone down, you get that extra turn. And in this one, instead of you utilizing the extra turn, so you knock someone down with your whatever spell you have, and then you would normally in the other ones you would just go and do an attack. And this one you can pass that turn off to someone else. So you can like go. So like if there's like a bunch of enemies with like a mixed, so that not everyone's weak to the same thing. You knock one down with the one attack, and you tag off to the guy that has the other attack that's like the other special attacks that would also knock the rest of them down. Then you get the all-out attack and make battles go faster. That's cool. One of the guys, I don't know if this ever exists in the other ones, 'cause I've never seen it, but the one party member, he has a move that does more damage if done with a baton pass. I guess that doesn't exist because baton pass never existed until this. So you would knock someone down, tag off to him, and then you would do a bunch of damage to the next, like another guy standing up. So it was like, it's just a really cool like way to flow battle and stuff. And that's just the party members. Like there are things like the gun. There's a kid he's like really good at gun video games, so he teaches you all the gun techniques. So he at any point. You have a special move with the gun that knocks someone down instantly. You have things where you can pass through anyone with gun has like you can't like is neutral to guns or null to guns. You can pass through that. You can increase your bullet capacity. You have different techniques on like if you want to. Social links give you ways to switch characters mid battle, to leave battle, to flee battle in one turn. What's some other ones out there? just like the different guns that you can buy that affect that. It's just like they all have like everything works so well together. The way you talk to when you knock down a crowd of them, you have the option to talk to the demons to recruit them, get money, like extort money out of them, or you can do the all-out attack. And if you get the one guy who's like a politician, him up, you can extort more money from them. You can extort money from them and then go to an all-out attack. It's like so there's like all this stuff just compiles on each other, and like so. Every social link is good. Some of them just give you better items that you can buy in their store. Some of them have it so that you can, like you can do different things with the actual palaces and stuff. Everything was so well like cogged together. It was so impressive. That's
really interesting. It's funny when you were first describing the ones with your party members. It actually sounded a lot like Pokemon Me.
Oh, yeah. It's really cool. It's like they kind of looked at like the current changes in JRPGs and we're like, we're going to turn this all kind of like into the Persona spin of it, but like kind of a cool like combination of everything.
Yeah, it's funny to see like what affects things and what doesn't. Like, so for like Pokemon Me, it seems like it got split into the statistical part, which went to Persona, and the play with your partner part, which went to Fire Emblem.
Right, yeah. Which I like that. Those were the new Fire Emblem changes were so weird.
Yeah,
where you could like literally pet your party members.
I mean, that wasn't in the American version.
Oh, okay. They really changed that much. I know the American version had like a big what do you call it? Censorship thing where they changed like some of the dialogue.
It was pretty drastic, but mostly because that one in particular was like kind of weirdly pervy, or it would be perceived as that in America.
Oh, totally. That is such a Japanese thing that would never fly over here. That would never work. But that was
okay. So I've actually been playing Fire Emblem Fates, which is that game.
Okay. Is that the combination one, or is that the one of the other two?
Well, Fates is the name of the cycle. I've got Conquest, which is the evil side.
Okay,
for lack of a better term.
It's like they did like Pokemon, right? There's like two releases that were like one side the other, and then there's one that's both. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much very early in the game, there is a moment where they're like, whose side are you on, main character? And one version you pick one side, and the other version you pick the other side. Mm-hmm. And they're actually, as far as I can tell, completely different games.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
And not just story-wise, like they actually are mechanically different.
Really?
Yeah, like you are able to grind in the good path because it's a more relaxed approach to the story.
Oh, interesting.
While in the evil path, you're just kind of like dragged along by the seat of your pants because you always have somewhere to be.
Huh. That's kind of cool. I didn't think they would change it. Like, I mean, I guess I come from Pokemon where everything's exactly the same minus a few things, but like,
and then
that's worth it.
In the dark path, it is just brutal. While supposedly the light path is a little bit more forgiving.
Okay.
But the thing that I really wanted to talk about with this is that this game has the most busy plot I have ever seen.
Like what? Like what shit is going through?
Like in the first, like okay, for anyone who's played these games, it's cool. I like it. It's a fun game, but you have to admit that the beginning of it is so much because some spoilers here. The first, I think 6 chapters, you are introduced to the main character, who is, I'm playing a female one, so a princess that has been stuck in this tower for years because she's just been raised there for reasons that weren't made entirely clear to us. But for whatever reason, she's in this magical protected castle.
What a typical little story there. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Princess in the castle. Is it like Awakening where you play someone else that's not the main character really?
Like
is there a tactician?
I guess is the tactician and is much more focal than Robin was.
Okay, I only played Awakening, so I'm not really sure what the typical structure of Fire Emblem is.
Well, if I remember correctly, the tactician usually isn't an actual character. Like, they're just not there.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, actually.
Like, you're the person playing the tactician, but they're not on the battlefield.
Right, because you're the one making the decisions, so you're the god figure, but that makes sense. Okay, continue.
Anyway, so you were introduced to this character, and they're like, hey, you've been here forever. You've never gone to the outside world. Now you're going to the outside world. Now you're going to meet your dad, who somehow you haven't met in ages. Here he is. He is obviously evil.
Really?
Like, so obviously evil. Like, if people want to look up King Garon, Garon, he has, like, gray skin, beard, all black armor, cape, and has, like, this sniveling counterpart, like, helper guy, who is just, like, he screams being evil. And so it's like, here's your dad, Corin. You haven't met him for a while, or maybe ever. It's not super clear because it just moves right along. So anyway, it's like, hello, Corin. Here, have this plot device sword. It's glowing and purple. Now, kill these prisoners with it. And you're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, no, prisoners of war. They need to die. You should kill them right here in front of me. And then you go, and it's like, no, father, I'm rebelling against you right this minute. And he's like, I'll have you put to death. And then your siblings sort of help, but there's being sneaky about it. Like, this is the entire plot of a normal game, and this is chapter 2. No, anyway, they send you on a mission after that it's like, oh yeah, to make it up, you're gonna have to go check out this fort. And it's like, oh, this fort was a trap. And now you're being ambushed. And also, they sent a guy with you that was a plant and is meant to stir up trouble and is killing people. And now all these people are after you. Okay, and now 2 of your people just got murdered and kicked off the bridge because, like, whatever. And now you're a dragon? And then you get kicked off the bridge and fall into another dimension? Which your maid is also a dragon? And by the way, the other dimension is never mentioned again. It's just a plot device to help work with your, like, the base building thing.
What? I thought that was going to be where the main game took place. What? I'm so confused.
No, you just pop there, and then the dragon maid, who never goes back to being a maid anymore, it's just this floating dragon on a ball, is like, okay, I can put you back, Corin, but be careful, I have to put you right where I took you from, so there might still be enemies around. And you say, okay, that makes sense. They pop you back, not at the bottom of the cliff because she grabbed you out of the air, but at the top of the cliff, which already proves that she was lying, but she's right there on the ground. And immediately someone's like, death to evil place! And your character's like, wait, what? Despite the fact that they just said, yes, I will be prepared to be attacked by people, gets one shot and knocked out, and then recognized and brought to Light Kingdom, at which point they're like, by the way, we're actually your parents. Despite the fact that you could turn into a dragon and have this dragon power that is presumably specific to the other side, but whatever, they kind of hand wave that and bring up a specific thing for it a little later. The point is, now it's like, by the way, you're adopted, and we're your original family because you were kidnapped as a baby. Now here's this other person who we kidnapped as a baby and is here for the other side. By the way, this is chapter 4 now.
I was just about to ask what chapter this is. Holy fuck.
So much is done. 3 fights, and one of them was the tutorial.
Whew. That's crazy.
So then you get brought to the place, and it's like, okay, it's the festival, Corin, here we are. And then it's like, oh no, your plot device sword exploded, and now your biological mom is dead. And then they're like, okay, now pick a side.
What the fuck? You're supposed to... Oh my god. So much has happened.
I'm like, I don't know who I'm supposed to care about. There's so many people here who say they have bonds with me, but I didn't get to see any of it.
Yeah, and you just have to make, like, a huge decision. That's so...
I mean, you don't actually get to make the decision. It's just whichever path
Oh, right,
you
yeah,
have.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Unless you got the
one with the decision.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, because, like... That's chapter 4.
Yeah, they give you the actual decision in chapter 6. I think there's, like, 2 battles in between.
Okay.
But, like, I covered most of the plot. I'm sure I'm forgetting something.
That's so much.
Oh my god! It slows down after that, thank god. But, like, holy shit!
That is... Oh my god. Like, that's just so much so quick. That's like a season of Game of Thrones. Fucking... a half hour or whatever.
They introduce, and I'm not exaggerating, 13 characters who you need, like, whose names you have to know and figure out, like, how you're related to them. Like, because you have, like, 4 siblings from each family.
My God. That's so... Holy shit. So much. So much happening. So much happens always forever. Oh my God.
Sorry, you're right, I did forget something. After your sword explodes, it blows up a statue, and inside that statue is another legendary sword, which is apparently tied to you. Also, your mirror sister, like the person who got kidnapped from your original area, for some reason has this stone that lets you control the ability to turn back and forth into a dragon. And so you can just do that at will now, and that's never a plot point again.
But that's nice. That's a nice little buff.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, Awakening wasn't that complicated.
No. Awakening had time travel, and it was so much less complicated. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's never a good sign for your story when something that has time travel makes more sense than your story.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. I think what happened was they were told that you have to have the branch really early, like chapter 6 or whatever. Right. And so they're like, but we have to get all this stuff in beforehand. Because, like, we need to make sure it's informed.
I mean, yeah, like, the branch, like, having the branch early makes sense, but also you don't want to just make a decision without knowing background. So, like,
so
they were definitely... Yeah, they're definitely in a weird spot trying to figure out how you balance that, but that's crazy.
It's fucking nonsense. I love the game. Like, it's really enjoyable, although I do not... I prefer Awakening to it distinctly, just because all the characters clicked with me.
Oh, okay.
Like, the Awakening characters were a lot more naturally endearing. Like, I found myself attached to Jacob, who is the butler, and he's awesome. Because he's like your typical kind of like snarky but incredibly powerful butler. Like think Sebastian from Black Butler if he wasn't a demon, but just awesome.
I actually have never partook in Black Butler, but I'm familiar with the general concept.
Well, yeah, no, he's just a demon. He's got like silver hair and a ponytail, and like he fights with a throwing knife and just murders people.
It's pretty badass.
And also his class is amazing because its 2 weapons are throwing knives or shurikens, which are treated as lances for the weapon triangle. And they could heal.
That's delightful. Yeah. That's amazing.
And also, like, he just has, like, really high evasion, so it's, like, really hard to get him killed. So, yeah, it's a very enjoyable game.
Sounds good. I've never been a huge fan of, like, tactical RPGs.
They're definitely my jam. I actually just threw a significant amount of money at a Kickstarter that is pretty much a tactical RPG Dark Souls.
Oh, that's cool. How does that work, though? Like, does
it's because it's like theming Dark Souls, like that it's very dark and like and that type of thing. And
not
also, it has a high turnover for characters.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just never clicked with them. I don't know why. Like, I like the stories that they usually have, and I like the characters and stuff like that, but for some reason, I just can't put myself into them. I want to try Final Fantasy Tactics, the first one. But see where that goes. Even though I hear that one's like wicked hard.
Tactics all that much. I love Advanced.
Okay, I've only done the very beginning of Advanced like maybe 4 times on like an emulator.
Gotcha.
And
Advanced takes a little bit to get going. Like you need to start getting your own missions before it actually starts being really fun.
Okay.
But the original was just it was really hard. Like it was brutal and didn't really feel worth it yet. Like usually in a game like that, they raise the stakes enough and let you get established with your characters before they actually start throwing like, and now here's a wall.
Oh, but right,
You get your wall in the original Tactics, like, I think the really early mission, that it's just like, good luck. And I'm like, I'm not motivated to fight through this.
Do they, because I know like in Awakening there wasn't much grinding. Is that in the Tactics games at all? Is there like grinding spots? Because Final Fantasy, I feel like that's kind of part of it. It's kind of like going on.
You can grind in Tactics Advance, and I did, but mostly to get cool abilities.
Right. That's why I would do it.
I think you cap out with an individual class pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
But like it'll be like, oh, I want to switch this character. I need to go change their class and grind them up.
Oh, okay. Do they have a cross class thing where you can carry over? Okay. That's pretty cool.
You can keep a secondary class's abilities. So like you can have like, I'm a monk, but I have black mage powers.
That's cool. Can you only do 2 classes? Yeah,
it's 2 classes, but then you can also keep a reaction from from a different class.
What is a reaction?
It's like a counter. Like when one of them might be like when you get hit by a melee attack, put up a shield or something like that.
Okay.
Or it might be an actual counter. It varies from class to class. There's a couple of them. So you can put one of those up. You can put, I think, a passive ability from another class. And I think there's a third slot, but I don't actually remember what the third one is. I know one of the best things you could do for a human character was you got ninja to dual wielding and then switched to paladin and just dual wielded broadswords.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so cool. I love that image, because in the earlier Final Fantasy games, everyone can dual wield pretty much. They had like a hand system that like never really went anywhere, but like some characters were left-handed, some characters were right-handed. But ultimately it was like, why not just have 2 swords? Why not have both? And then you just one of people. Like, that's all I ever did. Or like, oh, this is cute. He uses his main hand in his left hand, but I'll just put another sword. I don't give a fuck. So I always like that image of just a guy with like 2 Excaliburs and just like I think actually when I beat the first game, my main fighter, he had the Excalibur in one hand and Masamune in the other, and just ran at the boss. It was just man, it's so fun.
I remember I had my main guy with Excalibur, and I think Excalibur 2 or Excalibur Plus, whatever the increased version of Excalibur was, in his other hand.
Because it's just such a cool idea. There's like someone running at someone with 2 gigantic swords, and I always like the picture. The Final Fantasy 12 version of Excalibur looks so fucking cool. It's a 2-handed weapon, but it just looks really fucking cool. And so I always like the picture of that sword, just like 2 of them just running at people.
I'm not gonna lie, in Final Fantasy 14, I've actually been considering doing the relic quest for Paladin just to get Excalibur.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool, and the name's really great. Like,
it is
there's
really
something in saying, yes, I have Excalibur.
I love how their weapons is Excalibur and the Aegis Shield. I love that. It's so cool. Like, it's just... I don't play that game. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. Everything's been like that. I really got to get back to that game. I've spent a long time. Yeah. Have you played any Stormblood?
No, I never got through Heavensward. I got...
okay.
I got walled somewhere, and I was waiting for you to go through something with you. I don't remember what.
Oh, okay.
Like one of the trials or whatever.
Okay, yeah. I just kind of took a break, and I just.
It's cool. I've been playing a fuck ton of other stuff. I mean, I probably wouldn't have discovered Fire Emblem Fates and its ridiculous plot.
Yeah, I've been kind of just like jumping into other things, and then like with Persona 5, I was like, this is becoming a thing, because it was
really,
just.
I never would have guessed.
Because like I had a lot of fun with it when I first played it. I'm like, this is so great, and then I had like the itch as soon as I beat it. I was like, man, I want to play that again, and I was like, you know what? If I play it again, I get platinum it. And you know what? If I do it now, it's the best time where I'll know the most about the game. I'll be able to like really cruise through this. I won't have to do this a couple years down the line. So, I mean, it ultimately all worked out, but I don't know. There's a couple of things I want to get through. I just started Uncharted 4 last night, which is surprisingly... I know this is crazy to say, but it's basically a movie. It's just... I think in the first 2 hours, I played more as Crash Bandicoot than I did as Nathan Drake. You do not play that game. You watch so many cutscenes, and it's just like maybe you walk around a little bit, but like I had more like heart pounding excitement playing as Crash Bandicoot than I did as anything to do with Drake. That's for the first like funny. 2 hours, because you just walk around and talk to people, and you're learning about stuff, and stuff happens, and then you go right back into being the fucking crazy psychopathic murderer who's killing just hundreds and hundreds of racially ambiguous guards, just dropping them all. It's just, and then in this one, the 4, because I actually did not like the first 3 as much, but 4 I'm actually having a lot of fun because they added 2 things. One, they added auto aim, so that you just don't have to try, but it's fucking so cool to just keep tapping the fucking sights button. You just snap to people and shoot them in the head. And then the other thing they changed was you don't have to hit X to go to each like part of a wall you're climbing. Sometimes things are just close enough that you can just roll the joystick and he'll just naturally reach and grab it. So it just makes everything like way smoother and way better. But it is pretty much a movie though. You're just watching stuff happen. But things that are happening are kind of cool. Like you're going off finding pirate treasure. I'm like, I'm all about pirate treasure. Bring it at me. But yeah, it's just been, it's so short too. Like I'm probably halfway through and I played it once, which is just crazy. It's always so crazy to me because I've been playing so many JRPGs like for so long that when I sit down and play something that like a bunch of like normal Americans play, I'm like, holy fuck, this is short. Like this is crazy. I'm almost done. Like what? And it's such a different world. These like small little adventure games that people play instead of these like crazy, like Persona 5 could not be any shorter. Like it's just so
Persona
long.
is like an experience, like this whole thing of like going through, like you were devoting yourself to that game.
Oh yeah,
as compared to like you could sit down and just play through a normal game, like an adventure game.
Yeah. It's such a different, like, it's always so shocking to me. Like, when I first played the first Uncharted, I did the whole thing in one sitting, and I just sat up and I'm like, I beat a game? That was so weird. Like, what happened? This is so abnormal for me. And so, as opposed to, like, you kind of go, and you're like, all right, I'll just stop here, do this, do that. But it's just, like, it's just so weird. And, like, I want to go through a couple of the other shorter ones, because I'm like, short games are awesome. I'm going to play a bunch of these. So I have a couple.
I think you'd really get a kick out of Arkham Origins if you play games like that.
Oh, that's the one I haven't played. I mean, I didn't play the newest one, Arkham Knight.
I've heard is bad, but I don't actually know. And I don't trust those people anymore because they told me Arkham Origins was bad.
Oh, it's good?
I actually think it's the best of the series.
Really? I know Rocksteady didn't make that one. That one's like a third party.
But so here's the thing. It is only slightly improved over Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Mm-hmm. But it's an improvement, which should make it the best of them. It just got a lot of shit because it didn't actually improve it a lot. And that's how, like, since Arkham City was just such a jump from Asylum, and Asylum was a jump from everything else.
Yeah, right.
That when the third one came out, they're like, this is okay. Like, it's the same thing, but a little bit better.
Right, yeah, because that's like, it's the prequel one, but like it came out. Did it come out kind of close to City? Is that what it was? It came out
kind of close, yeah, like a year or two later.
Because that's why I felt like what caused people to kind of be like cold on it was like it just came out so close to the other one.
So here's the thing. It is fine. Like, if you like the other two games, you'll like this one. If you didn't, you almost definitely won't. But playing through it quickly is one of the best experiences I've ever had with a game.
Really?
Because it is so well designed to put that feeling of you are Batman, you're on a timer you play into it.
That's pretty cool.
Because the entire game takes place in one night.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It starts at about 10 p.m. Christmas Eve. And ends at 6 a.m. the next morning. Wow.
And is it like accurate to the amount of time it takes to play?
Roughly.
That's
you can beat it in 8 hours.
That's really cool.
If you're really good, like if you do nothing and don't fail.
Right. Which Batman would do. That's really cool, actually. Huh. Because I did the first Uncharted, like I did the first 3 Uncharted in one sitting, but the first one takes place in like one day. And it felt really cool to kind of just have that perfect, that flow that matches the character of like, I'm just trying to get through this thing, do this thing. So that'd be a lot of fun to play a City Origins like that.
Yeah, I never would have caught that that's what it was like if I wasn't forced to play it like that. Because I was borrowing someone's PS3. Like mine had broke.
Okay.
But I played the first like hour or so of this game and I knew I was hooked because it was so good. And I'm like, Parker, can I borrow your PS3? And he's like, yeah, but just for the weekend.
Oh, so you are on a clock. That's pretty cool.
And I did it, and it felt so good. Like, that entire run was just so perfect. It felt like Batman, because you're going from place to place to place, and then someone will come up, and you're like, fuck, I need to deal with this guy now.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you're trying to do the whatever it is that he's trying to do, and then just something happens, like, fuck, you're in the way. Get out of here. I'm trying to get this done.
There is a moment, one of my biggest moments in that game there were 2. The first one was of my own making, which was when like I was sort of pressured to do the main plot, but the pressure had let up a little. So, like, it had been that you need to go do this thing, but you have your next step, and that next step is just go get this analyzed, as compared to, like, there's a person at this place, you need to be there now.
Right.
And so I went outside, and there's this guy who's, like, a minion for this dude named Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a relatively new villain, but he is in the comics now.
Okay.
But he lives up to his name. He's just he's an activist that blows shit up.
Okay.
And so you talk to this guy, and he's like, yeah, there's 3 bombs planted around the city. And now I didn't know that you can just not talk to that guy again and walk away. But as soon as you talk to him that second time, it starts the timer on the first bomb.
Oh, wow.
So you talk to him, and it's like, go, get across the city, good luck.
Wow.
And so I was going, and there was a moment where I was going through the city, and I was making pretty good time because I had, like, lucked out on a cycle or something and just done pretty well because I'd gotten good at the travel.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the, help, Batman! Like, down, there's someone getting beat up. And I'm like, do I have time? Yes. Just dive down, beat up the dude, saved the guy, ran, and got to the bomb with, like, 2 seconds left.
That is the perfect fucking, like, superhero moment. That's so fucking cool. They can recreate that. Yeah. So there are, like, random things that happen in the city that you have to save?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Like, you don't have to, but, like, that's one of the main ways that you get, like, your extra perks.
That is one of my favorite fucking things from the Spider-Man 2 game. Because people would just be like, help, help, and then you could just go and do that, or go, I love that. That is such...
The Arkham series, and especially City and Origins, take a lot of prompts from the Spider-Man series, like that series of Spider-Man games.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, you get your basic stuff through progression, but you can get, like, neat tricks you can do with it by, like, experience.
Right, yeah.
And you get that experience by either doing combat, clearing side quests, that type of thing.
That's really cool. Because I love that stuff. I love, like, playing, like, DC Universe Online. Like, I can't ever get anything done because I'm like, I'm a superhero. I have to stop all of these bad guys that are in the way. And, like, if I see a villain player, I have to fight you. You're a bad guy. Like, I can't not. So it'd be really cool to play kind of a single player game where it's like, oh, cool, I get to do all this shit and do all it's.
But I do recommend that you also, 1, ignore the Riddler.
Okay.
He is harmless. He doesn't actually do anything.
Right.
Just engage when you have to, because there's a couple times you have to.
Okay.
But otherwise, don't do his, like, in every area, there's 6 side quests.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That type of thing. Because he is your, like, collectathon guy.
Oh, still like the other 2 where you do the trophy. Okay.
He's a little more engaging in this one, but not a ton.
Okay. Is it, is the city, or is it like in Arkham City where it's like, we're actually...
It's Gotham.
Okay, it's just straight up Gotham. That's awesome. Because that was the thing I didn't like. That's the one thing I really didn't like about City, was it was like, we're not really in Gotham. We're in like a fake Gotham. And I was like, well, like that's not cool. Like I want to be Batman. I want to be Batman running through Gotham City. So like that sounds far more appealing, that there are like fucking random people that need saving and like fucking, just like it's the city.
And it's one of those things that like not a lot of people are on the streets because it's Christmas Eve and there's a blizzard.
Right, okay.
So
that's cool. If they give a reason, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But there are people on the streets, which is fucking cool.
Because someone forgot to get their present or whatever and is like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
That is a far better, like, that's the structure I want out of a superhero game, where it's like it's
so good.
You get to be the superhero.
So well put together. Like there's so much, and you get to have him meet like 90% of his villains for the first time. I think the only person there that he's ever actually met is maybe Bane.
That's really cool. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, like you get to play his first encounter with the Joker.
Really? That's really cool.
It's not like the main drive. The big villain for this one is Black Mask.
Okay. Is Deathstroke in that one?
Yes. And the Deathstroke fight is phenomenal. Like, that was what sold me on the I need to beat this now.
Okay.
That's awesome. Compared to, like, this could wait, whatever. Because what happened was I was fighting that fight, and my PS3 died in that fight. And I'm like, no, I need to finish this.
That's so fucking cool.
It is the most pulse pound. Like, okay, you've played the first two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know the way those fights tend to go, where it's either like the big guy and you need to like trick him, or like it's Mr. Freeze and you have to like be like, oh, I'm going to use my environment and that type of thing.
Right, yeah.
Deathstroke is just you.
That's pretty cool.
He has all of your tricks.
That's fucking...
And you just need to beat him.
That's so cool. That is such a great fucking superhero. Oh, it's so fucking awesome. I love that. That's so fucking great.
It's phenomenal. But so, like, anyway, the second big moment where I'm like, this game is the best thing I've ever played was, this is a minor spoiler, but not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
As you're going through, at the very beginning, they introduce, like, oh, there are 8 assassins. Oh, sorry, the main plot is Black Mask has taken issue with you for some reason.
As you do.
And decided, like, you know what? I'm going to get you out of hiding. I am putting $1 million bounty on Batman's head. And 8 assassins are out to get you.
Wow.
And the 8 assassins are, like, Killer Croc, Deathstroke, Deadshot, Firefly, Copperhead, and, like, 3 other randos. Oh, Bane. And then, the Electrocutioner, who is new to the game.
Okay, I feel like I've never heard of that guy.
Yeah, Lady Shiva, who is actually completely missable. I never found her in my second playthrough.
Oh, wow, okay.
And, I might be missing one. But regardless, like, that's the whole set of them just being like, you are pushed. Because whenever you're trying to do something, someone will show up.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, I'm getting pretty far through the game, and I'm like, you know, a couple of these I haven't actually met yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. And then, I'm going... And I'm like, Batman makes that remark of like, you know, I really thought they'd try something more drastic to try to get me out and about. And then you turn a corner and Firefly has lit a bridge on fire.
Perfect.
And you're just like, fuck. Have to deal with this now. This isn't where I was going. I have something else I need to be doing right now.
That's such a cool idea, because, like, it almost sounds like that's what being Batman would be. All these villains are just like, I just want to fuck shit up all the time, and he's just like, I gotta deal with that, and I gotta do this, and, like, everyone's gonna be out at once. Like, it seems so like a superhero thing. Like, all of your villains, not all of them are gonna be in jail, so, like, they're probably all gonna be causing mayhem, and, like, you have to go and deal with it all individually and shit. I think that's such a great little structure for the whole thing.
Also, like, you're new.
Mm-hmm.
Since, like, you're new to being Batman, which means, 1, you don't have all your gadgets. Like, you get them as the game progresses.
Okay.
But there's a reason you don't have them at the start.
Okay, that's cool.
And 2, the police don't trust you yet.
Oh, that's cool. Do you ever, like, encounter the police in a way like that?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. You have, like, one of your first meetings with Jim Gordon. Or Commissioner Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's just that moment of, like, no, I'm a policeman. You're a guy in a bat suit.
That's awesome. Damn, I think you've sold me on that one. I think I might own that on Steam, maybe?
I'd be surprised if you didn't.
Like, I think
it's around.
I think I got it on like a sale or something where you got it super cheap. But like it's
and if you don't have it, you can probably pick it up for like $5 at GameStop because everyone remembers it as the shitty one.
Right? Yeah. Like I don't know anyone who has like played that. And
yeah, and I don't know why. It's so good.
Because I really liked Arkham Asylum, but like this seems like the next step. Because Arkham Asylum made sense that you're in the asylum, so it doesn't have to be people running around, doesn't have to be all this shit. So this seems way more up my alley as compared to apparently I have also Arkham Knight, hilarious. But like it seems far more what I was hoping City would have been.
Yeah,
because like just I really love the actual like I am a superhero. I'm doing superhero things. This is awesome. Like I just love that. Feels so cool. Cause like,
there's some really fun stuff going on in it, and it's just like I wish it had just done better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I I don't know what about it was what made people go, no, this is shit. Because, like, it's... If people loved City, they should have loved this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never touched it. I've never actually seen it played, so I don't even know what the complaints were. But, like, you know, I like parts of City, but I don't love City as a whole, so, like, maybe I would like this one even more. I don't know.
Yeah, only thing I would recommend, don't look stuff up. There's very few puzzles that you'll get, like, stuck on.
Okay.
And there are spoilers you'll stumble on.
Okay.
Because, like, there's a couple really cool twists.
All right. I mean, I don't usually look stuff up.
I know, but I know you're also the type that would be willing to.
Yeah, if I get pushed too far, like I just beat Dragon Quest 2, and that game is cryptic as fuck for no reason. It just doesn't have descriptions of anything. You pick up an item, and you're like, great, we got the false idol. The fuck does it do? I have no idea what this is used for. Why do I have this? And then I'm walking around, and you go to a place, and you're literally going through your inventory and just activating every item you have. Like, I hope this works. I don't know what any of these do. And, like, you look at the descriptions in them, they're like, it'll just describe it visually. It won't describe, like, oh, it's a thing that might be associated with this area or something. It doesn't do anything. So, like, and then the map is structured in a way where, like, the beginning of the game, I probably wasted like 3 hours just going between 4 of the same cities looking for one guy, and like I can't find him. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. It's like way too cryptic, and I was just like, I can't. It's like that was like the only. I felt like defeated, but I was like, I just want to get through this so I can go to the other ones, because like I cannot be constantly just wandering around aimlessly. Like I really have no idea what I'm doing, and it was just like so confusing. And then the other thing I just beat too was the Assassin's Creed Final Fantasy 15 update thing.
Not gonna lie, that is part of why I want to go through and play Final Fantasy 15 now, because that's apparently on a limited timer. And
it's up till January 31st or something.
Right. But I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take me to beat this game that's really long.
No, it's actually pretty short. You can get, if you just did the story, you could get through it really fast. If you're a crazy person like I am.
I don't know if I would.
Yeah, because like what I did everything. I did all the hunts. I did all this. I did everything. Yeah. But you don't have to do any of that till after the game. Like you can wait till the game is over to do all that stuff. Like it's almost like the way the game is kind of structured is like, you know, you're a bunch of bros on your trip, and you're gonna stop by some places, and you're gonna get to your mission. It is implied that you guys are the hunters, and you do stop at places and maybe do a couple of hunts, but like you really don't need to do any of the hunts. You can do a couple of them here and there. You can do as you go through, but it really is not a huge deal if you don't do everything. If you don't do everything, so it's like totally fine.
Makes sense.
Because the game is kind of like, you know, you're trying to get somewhere, but maybe you guys are also kind of on a vacation, so you're like, let's fuck around. But then some things happen where like the plot might make you. It's not that bad, and like the DLC, one character is in there that might have been in the story. I don't remember the guy that's like your assassin's target or whatever, because like, you know, it's supposed to emulate that series. I don't remember if he was in the game, but the characters kept using his name like we've had met him before, so maybe. But it's been a few months since I've played 15, so I might have just forgotten this guy existed. But it was okay. Does
it take place at the end of the game? Or
no.
How does it work?
So all these like DLC festivals, they take place like just in it's like an anime movie. They just kind of happen.
The DBZ.
Yeah.
This couldn't possibly have happened, but it happened.
Yeah, whereas like the characters are like, they're still on their journey, but like at one point somehow they just ended up in this spot where they're like, hey, we're going to go to the festival. And you're like, I guess, sure, why not? So no, I don't think it has anything to do with the story. A couple of like the time quests that they've released, they'll have like requirements like get it done by, or you have to have chapter 3 to do this quest, but that didn't have it. That was literally a separate part of the menu. So as you're going to the menu, is new game, load, and there's a thing like that's like downloadable content, which is the stuff with the other party members, and then just special, and it was just in there. So I don't think you need to do anything. Maybe give it some time though, because mine was fucking broken as shit. I kept like. I
mean, obviously, I'm gonna play some amount of the game before I jump into that.
Yeah, but like some of the quest was like broken. Like the one guy like
that's fun.
It somehow it reset and like wasn't doing anything, so I had to restart the mission and then restart again. And the guy, you have to like trail the guy, and the guy just walked into an electrical box and just kept walking into it because he's supposed to round a corner, but he just rounded it too tightly and then just got stuck on the wall. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm restarting. So I restarted the mission again, and then. You had to then a thing happened, you were running away, and then 2 invisible walls just showed up, and I couldn't progress. I was like, I don't understand how this happens. Like, what do I do? So I guess that just kind of It might be a little messy now because it only came out like a couple days ago. But so maybe if you do play and let them clean it up, maybe it'll be even better by the time you get there. But it was interesting. You get the option because like they'll give you costumes that you can wear in the main game if you wanted to, and one of them is the outfit I believe of the guy from Origins, the new game that's coming out, because it looks super. I didn't recognize the name. It was like something Medjay's assassin's robe, but I don't really know the series that well, so maybe he has been mentioned. But it looked very like desert wear, like you weren't wearing a ton of clothing, and it was like it had some Egyptian like jewelry on it and stuff. So that might have been a reference to that. I'm not sure, but if you had done the other festival that's currently going on right now, they redid it where it's like the Chocobo Moogle Festival, and it's just like a big. It's like a state fair, but if you do a certain thing, you get a dream egg, and if you have the dream egg and then go into the Assassins Festival, it hatches into Altair's robes, which you can wear there. So
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, it was like a neat little idea.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They have little side quests that are kind of fun. One of them is finding flags because it's Assassin's Creed, and god damn it, we're gonna find some flags. And the other one was like assassinate a bunch of these guards and get their little cores. And apparently that goes nowhere because he just kept upping the ante. And like I did it and it was like, get me 1, I got him 1. Get me 3, got him 3. Get him 5, he got 5. Then 10, then 20. And I was like, is this never going to end? And I looked that up. And the guy there was a YouTube video that was, this quest is not worth it. And he goes, he'll make you go to 999 and then give you nothing. I was like, oh, I guess I'm done with this DLC. Because every time I do these things, I like to at least try everything and complete everything. Yeah. And I was like, why is this not ending? So I just looked up. It's like, this doesn't end. It just keeps going. It's like, all right.
It's like in Fallout, it's the same thing with the settlements.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a person who you think that like the only way to advance his like companion status or whatever is by taking his quests, because he gives you quests constantly. And it's just like, yeah, go clear this settlement. And then it's like, all right, cool, now go help that settlement. It's like, all right, now go fight a thing at this settlement. It's endless. I don't think it actually ever stops. It's like pseudo randomly generated.
That's the worst. Yeah. Like, I'm fine if things don't end. Just let me know that they don't end. Yeah. Don't put me on this endless trail. I hate that stuff. But yeah, like that is just ridiculous. Oh, actually, you might love this DLC because there is like a really, really cool fucking puzzle where it's like you have to. It's like so you beat the story. You do the story part of it, and then when that's over, they go, all right, now you can just do everything in the festival, have fun, clean up anything you haven't done. And one of them is find the assassin's treasure. And it is a straight up puzzle where will give you like a riddle, or they'll give you a picture with like a little comment, and you have to like figure out like where the next clue is and then go somewhere in the city to the next clue and try to figure this shit out.
It does sound pretty fun.
It's really cool. You get an item that you can carry into the main game, but I haven't gone back to the main game to see what it is, because you can't change your equipment in this DLC, so I don't know what, I got like a shield or something, so I'm not sure what it actually does, but you do get something that you can carry into the main game. Because again, when you do these festivals, on your main save file, they'll have like little stickers of you completing stuff. So I have like a little assassin symbol and a little Chocobo Moogle sticker on my main save file, because like I've completed the DLCs for those like little festival things. And then that shows like I have stuff that carried over, because you basically have the one save file and everything goes into it. So it's pretty cool, but it's
that's neat.
I definitely think the game is pretty fun. I enjoyed 15 a lot, probably more than like most people, but I also did everything. Like, it's a super easy, like if you want to platinum the game, all you got to really do is get your each little guy has their own little stat. Like Noctis is fishing, Gladio is exploring, which basically means he'll just find shit in the world. Like occasionally he'll run around and he'll just find an item. Ignis is cooking, and then Prompto
the recipes.
Recipes, and then the which I think they might. I don't remember it being so dramatic, but every time he discovers, like if you go to these festivals, you can go to the Square Enix cafe and eat there, and then he will learn a recipe for like the main game. And I unless they re-recorded it, I don't remember it being so dramatic, because it was such a meme for a while. And then I was like, all right, yeah, he says that, and he says it with a little accent, but he said it in this DLC like recipe, like he like really fucking like emphasized how poorly he eats his recipe. And I was like, that was different. And then Prompto his pictures, but
I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason that I want to play this game is because at Anime Next, I met someone who was like the perfect Ignis cosplayer. And like we sort of became friends, and it was great. And now I need to see the root of this character.
Oh, Ignis is great. I love the cast of 15. You can say whatever you want about the story kind of being weirdly cryptic because you got to do all these other extra things because it was a weird mixed media experiment or whatever. That's fine. But the bros are fucking awesome. The Choker Bros are the best. They are such a great group. Like I saw a not screenshot. Slide from the PowerPoint presentation they gave at, I don't remember, GDC or something, and it was like how they broke up, what their relationships to each other are, and then what kind of comments they make based on that. And it was like,
that's super cool.
Like Prompto and Noctis, best friends. So they kind of like, they'll talk shit a little bit to each other. Like I had this whole breakdown, or like Gladio to Noctis, it's like more kind of like an older brother relationship. And then this is how they'll talk to each other because of that. And like how all four of them flow together to sound like real people. And like they actually will fuck with each other and make jokes at each other's expense, or like actually make a comment like, oh man, that was really awesome, dude. Like they're like really nice people, and they really feel like a group of friends. Like you're just with your group of friends fucking around, having a good time. It's really
That's great.
They really did a good job. Of course, the voice lines are limited, but
yeah, I mean it's fine. That's just the nature of the game,
right? Yeah.
But anyway, before we go too far away from that, first I just want to give a shout out to that cosplayer that I met. Yeah, sure. Actually, is also a YouTuber.
Oh no shit! Go ahead.
So I figure I will shout out their channel. They are them and another cosplayer that I met there is for Keelmers. Is Keelmers. I'll see if I can get Tom to throw a link.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Below. All right, cool. So yeah, no, they are great. They're currently doing a playthrough of the Dream Daddy Dad Dating Simulator.
Oh, that's a thing. Great. That's right. Yeah.
And then they also did a playthrough of Alien Isolation, which was phenomenal.
I need to play that game. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. So we will come back. There's the link, whatever. But anyway, back to Final Fantasy 15. I actually, before the game came out, and before we actually knew a whole lot about it, back when, pretty much as soon as it started showing that this wasn't just 4 Bros Take a Road Trip the game, I actually ran a campaign.
Oh, yeah?
That was my attempt at emulating the Final Fantasy 4 Bros Take a Road Trip the game.
That's awesome.
And it was so much fun. Like, if you remember, I made that like list of characters that were like, who would make it in the fighting game.
Yeah.
And one of the people there was the pair of Black Mage and White Mage, because these characters, we didn't really get super far into the game. Because just like people were busy, and like that trio of players wasn't like around a whole lot after we started, so it just kind of fell apart. But the premise was there was White Mage, who was the Royal Prince, Black Mage, who was like the successor to the Court Magician, and Paladin, who was their or the Court Prince's bodyguard. And, like, the Court Magician and the Prince were, like, bros, and then the bodyguard just kind of gets dragged along and tries to, like, keep them from getting killed. So, the main plot is that the bodyguard, his girlfriend is, like, moving across the country, or, like, going to dump him or something. I don't actually remember exactly why. But the point was, it is, let's go on a road trip across the country to have him go see his girlfriend. And it just became, it was a blast, because the whole premise is just like, the Royal Prince runs away with his bodyguard and his best friend, and tries to get across the country without getting everyone killed.
That's pretty awesome.
And, like, honestly, that's kind of what I was hoping that the game was going to be.
It's kind of the beginning.
Yeah, I know, and but like it obviously spinned off into Final Fantasy because that's just the nature of the game. But like, I would so play a game that is just 4 bros go on a road trip because one of them wants to see his girlfriend. Just like some arbitrary reason, and then 3 friends that are just like, yeah, let's do that.
I mean, it's kind of the beginning, but like after I think almost chapter 2 or 3, maybe.
Yeah, obviously it changes. Pretty drastically.
Then it starts to turn to like like a political drama. It's just.
But if you went and saw like the first couple of trailers for it,
oh yeah,
I legitimately the ones after it got announced as Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Because like the versus 13 or whatever, there was all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, that was more. It was designed to be closer to Hamlet than anything else.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I mean, I guess this has like connections to Hamlet, but that was supposed to be like a more like direct parallel, according to the people I've read or the things I've read.
Yeah, but the way it the way those first ones were, where it's just like the set of bros, like it was focusing on the car, on the road, on the camping, and the fact that there's just like this girl on the other side. So it's like, yes, in my head, it is Noctis is dragging his 3 friends across the country so he can go propose.
That is, I mean, that is kind of that is the reason the story starts, definitely.
Oh, I'm sure. But like,
and it's definitely the reason to come back every day to like experience this game is the 4 of them just being pals. But
they're phenomenal.
It's just really, it's such a and like Noctis tries to be all moody and shit, and they all make fun of him for it. It's just such a fucking delight. Like every time like Noctis does something you're like, well, that was edgy. Like they'll comment and be like, well, that was edgy. You're like, thank God. Or like he'll be like, trying to be moody and like not laugh, and they're like, please, dude. And they're like, all right, yeah, all right, great. Like, everyone is seeing this the way like we do. It was like really well. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that game a lot. You
remember Loading Ready Run, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they stream like a lot.
Okay.
And Alex is like their go-to horror streamer.
Okay.
That he just has played a lot of horror games, enjoys horror games, and also has played a lot of shitty horror games because they're like really fun and silly.
I imagine pretty common.
Yeah, like incredibly common. So they were playing through RE7. Is that what the new one is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there was a moment where they're going through and they find a puzzle that the way you solve it is like there's this projector onto a painting with like an eagle, and then you take this like weirdly shaped object and like line it up just right with the light to create the eagle in its shadow that overlays the painting.
Okay.
And causes a door to open.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's very silly. And so as he's doing this, Alex just comments like, who the fuck builds this? And then immediately he completes the puzzle and the character in the game just goes, who builds this shit? And they just lose it.
I always love when that happens where like the character in the thing you're experiencing also feels the same way you do. Yeah. It's like, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, I love that. That's such a great feeling. That's gonna be pretty hard to do as a writer. I'm not that hard as a writer if you're doing some kind of cliche and like someone's gonna like comment on it, but and you do it when it's not that and it's just like something kind of weird. Like that's always great.
I think one of the the successes of RE7 for me at least, because I've seen the full playthrough, is that they have an answer to that question.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like, delightful.
They have all those wacky like keys and doors and contraptions that you're expecting from a normal Resident Evil game. But then they actually have a character that is just the psycho who built it.
I hear that game's really good.
It is, from what I haven't actually played it, I've seen it played, but it is incredibly cool.
That is awesome. Because I really want to go through and do like a bunch of the all the Resident Evil games, because I grew up on the first one, but I was a dumb kid and barely got through it. So I would like to go and just play like the main numbered ones or something. Although I think Code Veronica is a technical third, but 3 is not.
Knows?
Something it has something to do with like a licensing deal or something. But
There's some of those that are, like, kind of questionable. Like, I don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad, and it's definitely going to be weird, because you can't possibly like all of them because they're so different.
That too, yeah. I know the series took, like, that huge change at 4, and they tried...
But I think you'll enjoy 7 quite a bit.
Alright, yeah. Because I definitely want to... I like what they do. I like the idea of the series. I've always been, like, fascinated by just Resident Evil.
What do you consider the idea of the series?
I guess just kind of the... What would we call it? It's just kind of like that, like, movie, but, like, the puzzle of, like, that weird, like, it feels kind of like a movie and, like a cheesy, like, zombie horror thing, but, like, there's also, like, it's, like, the amount of, like, puzzle work that you have to do and, like, how things are still kind of creepy. Like, I remember some of the stuff when I was little, like, how, like, things just, like, the Lickers, when the Lickers first show up is one of the coolest moments I've ever seen in a video game, where it's just, like, you just see things like run across the window, and you hear like weird noises or slurping noises, and then like something runs over the vents and shit. And you're like, what the fuck? And they drop down, and like it's just a cool environment. The way they set everything up. That was in the second one, but there's like really cool shit. The way that was just done. I think that's just a really cool series. I just want to go through all of them and like experience them as like just as the whatever story. I know they get like kind of crazy with their like. But like you kind of have to at that point, like just kind of always elevate the stakes and people with crazy superpowers.
That's kind of the thing that like you don't really like that. That's almost what 7 proved.
Okay,
you really don't have to raise the stakes.
Okay, that's good
because like that one takes place in one family's property.
Okay.
It is on the property of a rich Southern family from a long time ago.
Does that one have ties to the other ones?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, that's cool. Because I was wondering that when it was like, because we went from 6
it's not very heavy.
Okay.
Like, I think, like, there's some a character from one of the old games shows up in, like, the final cutscene.
Okay. Because I was curious to hear about that, because, with I know what, like, the things that happen in 6 where, people are driving motorcycles over helicopters and fucking, Wesker's son shows up and then there's just explosions and all this shit, and it's just like, where does this small bayou house, like, how does it tie in to the greater story of the Resident Evil franchise at this point?
Well, I don't know if, like, the greater story is really a whole lot left. Like,
okay.
I think that's over. I think that got wrapped up with 6.
Okay. And see, that's kind of a cool idea that now they can kind of just take Resident Evil as, like, smaller stories as opposed to, like, having to tell its overarching narrative, which I don't have a problem with. I actually do kind of enjoy when games... My favorite thing in a game is when you are, like, not necessarily rewarded, but like when you see something from another game, like because you played all of them, your experience is like better. Like you get a reference someone says or a character shows up, and you're like, oh my god, it's that guy. Like I like that shit a lot. That's always like such a great feeling. So like I would like that. I think it'd be kind of cool to have Resident Evil from now on just kind of be like smaller little references to stuff and not matter about this huge. I don't know. Was it a whole world issue at this point? Is it become as opposed to just Raccoon City? It's like
Oh, yeah, no, it got all over the place. I mean, like, RE3 or 4 took place in Africa.
5 takes place in Africa.
Okay, 5, yeah.
4...
Like, what I'm saying is, like, it's all over the place.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was, like, just small areas or if it was, like massive cities and stuff. I know 6 takes place in most cities.
It's definitely cities.
Okay.
Because, like, I don't know if, like, cities were getting taken out or anything.
Okay.
But I know it was at least a problem in a city, and, like, you had, like, giant monster zombies running around in the city.
Okay.
Like, 6 did not seem good.
Apparently, because it's multiple storylines, some of the storylines are better than others.
Oh, yeah. If I remember correctly, like, there's 3 of them, and one of them is really good, and the other 2 are intolerably bad.
I've heard that, too. I've heard, like, I was watching some YouTube video, and, like, one of them was very, like, I think it was the Leon one, was very much like a typical, like, hit the beats of typical classic Resident Evil all the way to ending with taking a rocket launcher out to a big zombie or whatever. Like just your typical bread and butter Resident Evil, but it definitely seems like kind of a cool, I don't know. I definitely would enjoy when you do have big overarching stories like that, at least there's a good ending where it's like, cool, this felt complete. Where Metal Gear Solid did have that, and then with like 5, you're like, this doesn't have to exist. Like, this doesn't help the story at all. It's just a decent game, but a bad Metal Gear game, that kind of thing. And that always kind of, like, makes me feel worse than if it was just, like, I don't know. I like when things end with a nice punctuation, like, there you go. Nailed it. Like, it just feels so much better.
I've actually really enjoyed like the Dark Souls series because of that, because there's so many like little hints and nods of like old things.
Oh, that's always really cool, especially because I know isn't 3 take place in the same area that the first one does or something?
Sort of.
You at least go back to some places from the first one?
Yes, yeah. There are places in 3 that were also in 1.
And that's always really cool. I always like seeing stuff like that where it's like you know.
The general lore of the Dark Souls series after Dark Souls 1 is that like there's this whole cosmic cycle.
Okay.
And that as stuff starts to go to shit, both space and time start getting like really fucky.
Interesting.
So that as we get closer to like the end of Fire, where like pretty much the sun goes out, all these significant places and people and concepts all just kind of get like magneted towards the first flame.
Interesting.
So in Dark Souls 3, you are going from like place to place, all of which have been like ripped from their specific areas to create this like composite world.
Whoa. That's I don't know anything about the story of Dark Souls. Like I don't know why I've never like played. It's never like stood out to me in any way. I guess it's not on the forefront. It's kind of to look into it if you really want to, but
yeah, no, they don't tell you shit.
Yeah, but that like it's every once in a while I hear bits and pieces of the greater like story of some of the Souls games, and it's just very fascinating, like where they decide to take these things. Because like as like in like I don't one I've ever really beaten is Bloodborne. But there's these cool, like, like, locations and set pieces. You're like, this is really neat. And then if you look into the lore of it, you're like, oh, that means a lot more to, like, the greater entity of this whole thing, where it's like, oh, okay. Like, that's really cool. They tie all that shit together.
Did you meet Patches the Spider?
Yeah.
He's in all the games.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know that. I fucking murdered him so hard. Mostly
you missed out on some items.
Because he scared me. I did not see him, so I just all of a sudden attacked. He like showed up, and I just hit the attack button, and he died. But
that's hilarious.
Oh, he like dropped from the ceiling. I was like, motherfucker, and I hit the whatever button was. Fucking murdered him immediately. And I was like, well.
So in every Souls game, there's a guy named Patches.
Okay.
He's only a spider in Bloodborne.
Oh, okay.
And he introduces himself, and he's like, oh, yes, friend, hello, and then immediately betrays you.
He did. He immediately betrayed you.
Yeah.
So I wasn't upset that I murdered him. I was not upset. I was just like, he scared me.
He usually drops you into a trap.
Okay.
That you can either survive or just die and come back and talk to him.
Okay.
At which point he'll be like, oh, no hard feelings, right? And he becomes one of the best vendors in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forget how he spooked me, but I remember I came up behind him, and he was just like on the wall or dropped down.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with killing him. He is an asshole.
And I was very scared, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that guy. He dropped me in a pit. He can go fuck himself. But that game was hard. I am so bad at those games. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't think I could have gotten through Bloodborne if there wasn't a call for help button. Like, I'm so
there's
bad.
There's a reason there's a call for help button. That's part of like the design. It's intended to push you to your limit, that if you
no, I definitely felt like I was not losing out on the experience for doing that because it is how it is designed. It is designed to have like people like that would not be a feature if it wasn't designed more or less for that. Like you can still be a big dick motherfucker and do everything by yourself, but like I don't know, it was just hard. I was just like, this is like impossible. Some of these fights.
And the reason that I'm like totally okay with it is because they also they're NPCs. Like that you have those signs show up even if you're not connected to the internet.
Oh yeah.
And some of them
I did. Yeah. Some of the boss fights I did win with just the NPC helper. Because like even in that situation it was like, all right, I'm gonna have the monster fight the NPC and then I'll attack from behind a whole bunch. Like so it worked out, but it was just it's a cool series. It's too complicated, but it like story wise, but it is and hard. But they're fun.
I could give like lectures on the Dark Souls world. I love it so much.
Do you actually like know it pretty well?
I mean, like not the most. There's obviously people who know a lot more than me, and I haven't played Dark Souls 2.
Okay,
I've only ever seen videos on it.
Okay.
So like I haven't experienced that one firsthand. And I haven't finished the Dark Souls 3 DLC.
Okay, you're on the first of 2 or 3?
2.
Okay.
And I'm at the final boss of it, so it's not like I'm missing a whole lot.
Okay, which one is this? Which one's the painting one? The second one?
That's the first one.
The first one,
Ashes
okay.
of Ariandel is the first one.
Okay, that's the only one I know about is the painting one.
Yeah.
Seems like a cool fucking idea.
Ariandel and Ariamis and Dark Souls 1.
That's fucking such a cool idea.
Fascinating.
Such a cool idea.
Yeah.
There's like that and like the implications of the painter and like what she has as power or whatever is pretty cool. Yeah. All that shit.
Do you know why there's a painting?
I do not know why. I just know that it exists and there's a girl who can literally create worlds, which is fucking intense.
That's true. But like, so the point of the painted world of Ariamis, and in this case Ariandel, are it's pretty much like the Island of Lost Toys.
Oh, really? Okay.
That it's just a place to isolate and in some case contain things that are not belonging in the main world.
Interesting. Oh, so not always for a good cause then. Yeah. Bad things can be being put over there. That's cool.
Well, I mean, not necessarily bad, but dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah.
In Dark Souls 1, the main person who lives there, the boss, if you choose to fight her, because it's entirely optional, is Priscilla.
I've heard of her.
Who is what?
I've heard of her. I have no idea what she is.
It's because she's a waifu.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
She's like a 20-foot tall lady with a fuzzy tail.
I don't think I've ever seen a picture of her, but definitely sounds like waifu material. Yeah. I can see why the internet would enjoy her.
So she is like the daughter of, presumably, we're not actually certain, but she is a half-breed, which is half dragon, half god.
It's a nice combo.
Yeah, so we think it is Seath and Guinevere.
Okay.
But, like, kind of hard to tell. And these half-breeds have the ability of Life Hunt.
Okay.
Which is one of the only things that can, like, that they're super effective against gods.
Oh.
Specifically.
That's cool.
So, they were worried that Priscilla could be used as a weapon against the Lords of Fire and such.
Oh, so they want to stop her from being a thing. Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So they just put her in the painting.
Makes sense. That's pretty cool. Like, I've been very fascinated by, like, the actual... Just the idea that this series is such a deep and complicated lore. Complex, I guess. I know there's, like, massive, like, Google Docs you can look up that, like, cover, like, you know, this game, here's what happens in this game, which is always fucking really cool. And I like how the dedication of the community of, like, they find the items, they find all the stuff that has this shit on there. That's always so fucking cool to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. The way you can play the game on your own and get a lot of that is just by talking to everyone, listening to what they say, and trying to remember it, even if it doesn't make direct sense. And then reading item descriptions when you find them. And then you'll just start piecing it together.
Okay.
Like, you'll notice, like, okay, Carthus. Carthus is a place. There are warriors from it. It's a desert kingdom. Why is it gone? All right, there's this king, King Wolnir. He was the lord of Carthus. What happened to him? Oh, he got dragged into the Abyss, which is this, like, dark area that was consuming people and, like, making evil shit pop out. And then you realize that the catacombs of Carthus that you find are directly behind a boss that we know as the Abyss Watchers, who apparently find places like Carthus or Ulusil that have been touched by the Abyss and burn them to the ground before they become a problem.
Damn. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's cool that you were able to figure that out by like just paying attention. So like I definitely like the structure of storytelling that the Souls series does. It's just I've literally, like I said, I've only beaten the Bloodborne, so I don't even know, like, you know, I've never had, like, I guess my paying attention chops aren't up to snuff with the rest of the games, because it's just like, you know, I'm just not familiar with all of them, and, you know, I just never, like, I would actually have beaten Dark Souls 1 if my computer would stop being a jerk.
We should really try and troubleshoot that, see if we can figure out why.
I don't know why. I have no idea. I just can't figure out what's going on. What ended up happening was I updated my graphics card, and then everything went to shit, and I don't know why. Every other game works. It's just Dark Souls, like, I'm gonna not. I think it has something to do with, what did I put on? DS Fix I had on there, And I think DS Fix.
But, like, you'd think removing it would fix it, or
I think I removed. I think I removed it, but perhaps parts of it are still somewhere that's causing a break somewhere, or like settings didn't change. I don't know. I keep on installing it, reinstalling it, and it just never like. If there's got to be a way to just like gut your system of every inch of everything to do with Dark Souls, and I could just start fresh. But
there totally is, but you'll lose your progress.
Yeah, which I guess at this point, if it's gonna work as opposed to not working ever, I mean, what's the difference, right?
And I mean, honestly, we can set you up with like there's a thing called Cheat Engine where you can just go and modify things.
Oh, right. Just put it back to where I was or whatever.
Just go, like, put yourself at your right level. I mean, yeah, you'll have to beat the bosses again, but you'll be really over-leveled for the first couple.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because, like, that just, I don't know what happened. It was such a weird issue, too, where it's like, I guess this is just broken now. I don't know. Yeah. But, I mean, whatever. Like, I don't, if I could fix it, great, but, it's just...
Yeah.
It's a weird...
We'll look into it. It's worth looking into just because, like, it's a fascinating series of games. I don't think there's anything else like it right now.
I don't think so. Like, some games try, like Salt and Sanctuary.
I don't really get it.
Was trying to do a thing. What's that one that just came out? The Cyberpunk
Neo?
one? No, Neo. Oh. I'm thinking, Neo definitely. But I'm thinking of
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on the name
I can't remember the Cyberpunk one that came out recently. But like, I've never touched those. I don't know how popular or like well received they are really, because I can't even really like gauge like that. It's like its own little genre of games now. Like people are like like that's kind of its own genre. Where people are just like, this is. People have their own standards.
I'm worried about people who miss the point. Because, like, Dark Souls is hard, but it's not hard to be hard.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, I don't think it being hard is hurting the series at all. Everyone seems to love it.
No, it's not. That's not what I'm saying, though. Like, I'm saying, like, people who try to emulate.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Make games that are super hard for no reason.
Right, yeah. Yeah. They want to make it, yeah.
Death in Dark Souls is a storytelling element.
Right, yeah. Which is cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of hard to design a game where death doesn't feel like a punishment, but more like a learning tool, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of games, it is kind of it's both in most games, but like it's not the way the Souls games designed death is so unique. Yeah. So that is always pretty cool.
There's also something with Dark Souls 3 that I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
So Dark Souls as a series has always had a way to tie in players who don't finish it.
Oh, really? That's cute.
Because the lore, like, are you familiar with the basics of what going hollow means?
You're like a zombie.
Yeah, but the reason that happens is because you've died so many times that psychologically you just break.
Oh, so you stop playing.
You're done.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So you go hollow when you give up.
Right. That makes sense.
And so, like, the concept is that the people who chose to stop playing went hollow.
That's actually really cool that they would come up with something like that.
Yeah.
It's just...
And then in Dark Souls 3, they actually have a tie-in for the people who beat it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. What's that then? Or is that too much of a spoiler?
I guess minor spoilers, but not really. The final boss, once you've cleared everything else in Dark Souls 3, is the Soul of Cinder.
Okay.
Which is the composite soul of everyone who's ever linked the fire.
Oh, that's really cool.
So, and the way he fights for the first phase, he goes through different player styles.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like, he starts with a broadsword and then switches to, like, a spear and miracles, and then switches to, like, a scimitar and pyromancies, and then switches to a staff and starts casting at you.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. That's a really neat way to do that.
And then you down him to, you clear his first health bar, and then he goes down, health bar refills, and he comes up and fights, like, Gwyn, who is the first to link the fire and the boss of Dark Souls 1.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. That's and see, like, that kind of thing, I feel like is rewarded by playing Dark Souls 1, by playing the Dark Souls series, understanding, like, what that meant, why he would change phases like that. That's really cool.
it also, like, hits his music cue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, when it makes that cycle, the piano from Gwen's theme starts playing.
That's really cool. That is really, really well done. Damn, that's fucking awesome. I respect the hell out of that series. It's such a fucking well-designed, well thought out thing. Really fucking cool. Just never, it's so much. Just.
It's understandable.
Like, it's, I was driving today and I saw they had their license plate was like Doctor Who, and they had a little 9 3/4 thing on their rearview mirror. And I was like, man, we're like both super nerds, but like, I just don't understand your world. And I doubt you would understand mine. Like, I respect your hustle, but like, it's such a weird concept because like on a normal person that they're like, oh, you must like these things too. It's like, well, not really. Like, I don't know. They're different. Yeah. It's a different thing. Like it was really like a weird moment to be like, oh, you know what? Like, we're the same, but we're different. This is very strange. Because it's just, so there's these things out there. I'm like, yep, I get why. I can see that. It's just like, except for Doctor Who. That one I've never like actually clicked with. Where it's like, fine. I don't really see what that is.
It's hit and miss. I mean, like, the thing about Doctor Who is that you have to enjoy, one, the character, because, like, he's an interesting one. Like, you have to accept that your protagonist is, like, incredibly intelligent.
Okay.
Like, but doesn't always, like, apply it the way you would expect because he's an alien.
Right.
Like, he's an alien that doesn't really act like an alien.
Okay.
And then second, you have to realize that time travel isn't the point.
Okay.
Like 90% of the time travel is a means to get to your adventure.
Okay. That's clearer. I've also heard that it's better to think of the protagonist as the companion and not the doctor.
Usually.
Because, like, they're a little easier to connect yourself with.
The companions have arcs.
Okay.
The doctor is.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen a few episodes. Like, it's not a bad show by any means. Like, what's that show? The episode everyone talks about? The Blink one?
Blink. Yes.
Is it Blink? Alright, I wasn't sure if it was Don't Blink or Blink, but that was kind of cool. I mean, apparently, I don't think any of the characters in that episode were main characters.
It was a one-off, and that's sort of what made it so good.
Okay, yeah, because that was the one. That's probably. I mean, that one. I've seen that one, and then I saw one of the companions showing up. I think she was the Irish one. I don't remember. She was a QT, but I feel like they're all QTs, so.
Most of them.
I can't remember what her name was, but I forget what. I feel like there was a plane involved. That doesn't help. That's a very vague sentence. But, I mean, it's just a different world. It's a thing that exists. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? That's.
It's certainly not for everybody. And, like, I could not stand the beginning of the 12th Doctor's run.
Oh, really?
Which is a shame because I fucking love the actor.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's just that Stephen Moffat, who's the guy who was the showrunner, can't write for shit.
I hear everyone that likes Doctor Who can all agree that he is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I forget what... he also wrote Sherlock, which I have fallen off real hard on, so...
So here's the thing about Stephen Moffat.
Okay.
He is phenomenal at writing moments.
Okay.
He can give you a scene that will blow your socks off.
Okay.
But he can't write series.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't link those moments together to make a consecutive narrative. He does these things that when you see them, you're like, whoa, what? But the reason you're like that is because they're nonsense.
Right, they come out of nowhere, so you're blown away. Yeah. But, like, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, they don't actually back it up, and they never follow up. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like a, like, it's almost more rewarding when the thing happens, and it makes sense, but you're like, I didn't see that coming. Like, that's better than when it's just like, oh, this just happened randomly. But if there's, like, a slight buildup, and then, like, maybe they break it down, then you're like, oh, shit, you just used the rules of your universe to make this really cool thing happen. That was awesome. Like, I love that. It's just so... That's so much better. Like, Persona 5 does that there's like a big thing that they do, and you're like, how does that work? And then they spend like the next like hour like explaining to you in extreme detail of like, no, this does make sense. We used all of the rules that we've set up ahead of time. This is how it works. Like, oh, that would make sense because this and that and that. And it's just like, it feels so much better when you kind of figure out with the game or with the cast. And like, that makes sense. You guys are just fucking smart over there. But if it just comes out of nowhere, it's like, that's annoying because it just happens and you just have to deal with it.
That's sort of like where that stands. It's sort of like comparing, just since you were talking about it like last week, or I guess it'll be a couple weeks ago by the time this actually comes out, but with like Death Note, the early Death Note plot twists were phenomenal.
Oh, they're great, yeah,
because like they're rooted in logic. Like,
right, yeah.
You're like, holy shit, I never would have thought to do that.
Yeah.
But like, it makes perfect sense that he would have.
Right, exactly, because both people are smarter than you, so you're like. That's one of my favorite things about Death Note is like, it's so smart and like the characters are so much smarter that like I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to I'll just let them fucking decide for me. Like I'll sit in the back seat. You guys go ahead. Yeah. Like it's just fucking cool.
Compare that to some of Bleach's plot twists.
Mm-hmm.
The later ones. Again, the early ones are pretty good. But just stuff like, whoever said the numbers go from 1 to 10?
What?
That was... Oh, I guess you haven't read much of Bleach.
I've only read up to where people say it gets... Not because of, like, the series dropped off, but because the manga at my high school library stopped. But, like, gotcha. I've read up to the part where people are like, this is, like, the Soul Society arc. The end of that, people are like, I know the big twist, and then that's it.
Yeah, that was... phenomenal. Like, the Soul Society arc was really good, and the big twist is what I was talking about with that was well rooted.
No, it was, yeah. Everything made sense. You're like, that was fucking awesome.
But it still fucking blindsides you because the character was like, no, there's no way you would have worked that out.
And and like there's like almost like a moment of self like doubt. You're like, no, there's no way that just happened. Like, it was really well done.
Yeah. You actually have that crisis that you see the characters have.
Right, yeah. And that was such a fucking cool thing. But I have heard that Bleach decides to stop being good after a certain point.
They spoilers for the middle of Bleach, if anyone cares anymore.
I don't think so.
But,
if you do,
okay, so they introduce the sequence of characters called the Espada.
They're the skull people, right?
Yeah, but not the ones that wear the masks, like the ones that were hollows and then turned humanoid.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because I really liked that there were these two sets of people that were pretty much the same thing, but coming from opposite sides. Because, like, the Vizards were Shinigami that had, like, tapped into hollow powers.
That's cool.
And they weren't actually... the Arankar were hollows that had, like, broken their masks and derived into Shinigami powers.
Okay.
So that they were the same thing coming from opposite sides.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So anyway, there were 10 of them. They get introduced, they're numbered by power level. But you don't get introduced to their numbers immediately, which I thought was really cool. Because as you go through, they're like, oh yeah, okay, clearly this guy's the leader. And you're like, no, I'm number 4. And you're like, holy shit, okay, never mind. There are 3 badasses even bigger than you, and they're over there where you can't stop them. Like, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there is a plot twist near the end of that arc, where I'm pretty sure what happened was that they forgot to kill off the number 10 guy, who was the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just wasn't involved. And so now they have already beaten the number 4 guy. The numbers 1, 2, and 3 are like off in another dimension fighting the captains who are like all breaking out their crazy powers, like that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 10 guy is like, oh fuck, well I just woke up.
Oh right, I'm a person.
So he comes out to fight like 2 of the captains that are like incredibly powerful. Zaraki and Byakuya, if you remember them. Yeah, both of them are there.
Okay.
And so it's like, so this guy's just gonna job out to them, right? And so I swear this is just the biggest ass pull of like Kubo being like, we need to do something to make this even slightly tense. And so he comes out and is like yeah, but whoever told you the numbers went from 1 to 10? And then he, like, levels up, and the 1 fades off from his 10, and he's number 0.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why?
Exactly! And it's such an asshole. And even as his, like, crazy number 0 power is showing up, he's not notable.
It's so dumb.
Like,
Ow.
while Zaraki and Byakuya beat him, just while, like, quipping to one another.
That's so fucking stupid. Oh my god.
They're pretty much just showing off. And it's like, why is this here? It doesn't make any sense. And it's just, like, backwards.
You're a goddamn hero for sticking out Bleach after something like that. That should have been the blood in the water. You're like, okay, we're going. This is not going to go well. Like, things are looking south. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, like, that was one of those things that, like, it was dumb, but at the time I forgave him.
Yeah.
Because, like, what the fuck are you gonna do if you're in that position? Like, you just have the number 10 guy just walk away into the sunset? Like, he's alive.
That's so fucking
You have to do something, right?
You are kind of in a shit fucking spot. Like,
Yeah.
It's just...
Because, like, you're writing on a weekly basis. This character hasn't come up, like, for over 2 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're clearing it out, and you've already taken out the big guys, and you're like, all right, we're just wrapping up this arc. We need to get Ichigo to the main. What did I do with number 10? Fuck.
Good lord. Like, I'm not going to say fucking manga writing is easy, because it is like on that weekly basis. You got to keep shit up, but like, that is such fucking... That just sucks, man. That's just... And like, Bleach has got such a great base. Like, Bleach is so cool from the, like, at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, there is so much you can do with Bleach, and I loved it. The reason I stuck it out was because there's just so much potential there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, God, like, Aizen was probably one of my favorite bad guys. Like, he was my favorite bad guy for a long time.
He's fucking awesome. That's totally understandable that he'd be like your favorite. It's such a fucking cool... That whole moment was just it was so well done.
Yeah.
And just like, it's like, as someone who didn't continue, not like out of just like spite of the series, but like physically couldn't continue at the time, to know that it doesn't go any higher than that is kind of upsetting.
Well, I mean, like, okay, here's the thing. It sort of does.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't get consistently higher than that.
Okay.
The reason that's a good place to stop is because that was where everything was good. There was not a misstep in the Soul Society arc.
Right, yeah. Just
like, that was just phenomenal. After that, there is some great stuff and some shitty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're fine with getting through the shit, the peaks are still pretty fucking high.
Okay. How did it end? Did you think it was ended well? Or did it...
No.
Okay, no.
Okay, so here's the thing. There are 2 endings.
Okay.
One which is where I'm like 99% sure that he was going to end it.
Okay.
And it's a perfect ending.
Okay. Is it...
And then they've made him keep going.
Is that after the arc after Soul Society? Or does it go a little past that?
It's actually like an arc and a half after Soul Society.
Okay.
Like there's Soul Society, there's this in-between arc where there's like powering up, introducing new characters, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is like the arc to end all arcs, which is pretty much the on the boat arc from what I've been told, like from Berserk.
Yeah.
That it's just like, this arc is going to take 5 years.
Right, okay.
And that is the main arc of Bleach. They go to Hueco Mundo, which is like the place where the Hollows live.
Oh, okay. That makes sense that things would end there.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there then? Where's the rest of it take place?
Okay, so huge spoilers for Bleach at this point, so I'm pretty much just going to lay out the rest of the plot.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I don't really intend to read it. Even if I do, I don't think so.
I mean, it might be worth watching, because the anime is actually really good.
Okay.
Like, the fights are really well animated most of the time. Obviously, they have their budget constraints. But, like, they put a lot of love into their fights, and there's a lot of them. Like, the fights are all the time. It's a fight manga.
Yeah,
and then they have the best filler in the business.
Really? I heard they do have a lot of filler in the anime, but if it's good, like...
That's true. I can name 4 filler arcs off the top of my head.
Okay.
But all of them were good.
All right, that's
like,
really
actually
promising.
Good. Like, better than normal Bleach good.
I don't know what that says about Bleach, but that's...
Well, What it says about Bleach is that the writer had a lot of good ideas and that the weekly format wasn't how it was supposed to go.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. Unfortunately.
Right, so anyway, disregarding the filler, which was really good, and, like, honestly, even if you don't want to go watch Bleach, go watch one of the filler arcs.
Okay.
Because they're self-contained and enjoyable.
That's pretty cool, though. I'm not gonna, like, that is actually nice, to have that shit.
Like, the first filler arc, they introduced these, like, soul vampires called the Mount.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and they have a ability sort of like they're sort of like a Zanpakuto called like a doll or whatever that gives them the same flexibility that would. That's like, I have this power, it does this thing, without actually having to call it the same thing.
That's pretty cool.
And they're sweet. Like, that's it. Like, they introduce them, you fight them, they die. Like, the end.
That's really fucking cool.
And then there's another arc where they expand upon the concept of the artificial souls. Like, do you remember Khan? Like the little dude in the lion?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember how they're just talking about the fact you can make artificial souls?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that got dropped. But, like, there's a filler arc that covers it. Because, like, why wouldn't there be? That's a really interesting way to progress.
Very cool. It's a cool idea.
Yeah. So there's an arc of revolving around that. There's an arc that has, like, the Soul Society equivalent of ninjas, which is neat.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because they're like the, and, my favorite arc is one that most people don't realize isn't canon.
Uh-huh.
Because there's a period in the Huecamundo arc where Rukia just, like, goes into the forest, meets a character, leaves the forest, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
In the anime, they have, like, an entire arc with that character.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's pretty good from what I've been told. Like, it's really interesting. That character is well developed. But, like, it's one of those things that the editor said, all right, Kubo, time to move on. And he's like, but, okay, fine. Huh. And then when the anime is coming along and being like, we need someone to fill time. And he's like, here, just take my notes, please. Anyway, so general flow of the story as it was in the manga. They go to Soul Society, save Rukia, Aizen pulls his heel turn, and manages to get the plot device stored in Rukia's soul, or whatever. Which gets, he pretty much is attempting to use it to ascend.
Okay.
Then runs off to Huecamundo where he builds up a base.
Mm-hmm.
Ichigo goes to train with the Vizards, who are like these banished captains that, because they tapped into the same power that Aizen did and got like these weird, fucky, hollow powers.
Okay.
Sort of like, Ichigo did it by accident in the series a couple of times.
Okay.
Like where he got the mask and went wild.
Yeah. Remember that.
Yeah. They pretty much teach him to control that.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Because they can do it at will.
Very cool. It's a cool idea.
So that's a cool series of characters. And then eventually, two of the Espada, who are like the elite Arankar, which were like the hollows that have turned to Shinigamis, show up in Karakura Town and kidnap Orihime.
Okay.
Because her healing power isn't actually a healing power. This is the coolest plot device in the series. The way her healing power works is it actually just creates a bubble around the thing inside it and just winds back time.
That's really cool. And strong
so
shit.
So it can like undo anything.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that presumably they need that for something. I don't actually remember why, but I think they like use her to like activate the MacGuffin.
Okay.
Anyway, everyone has a training montage, goes into Huecamundo, fights the Arankar, and then once Ichigo is like locked in to fight like his big bad, who we then find out is number 4, we find out that Aizen has gone to Karakura Town with 1, 2, and 3. Along with Ichimaru Gin, who is the like squinty guy who has the extendo pole as his weapon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And Tozen, who is the other trader captain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so those 6, and then, like, their respective lieutenants.
Okay.
Are going to Karakura Town because they're pretty much trying to evaporate it to make a key to heaven.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because apparently heaven is a place.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Did they actually ever go there?
Yes, in the post game.
Okay.
Very cool. In what is I consider non-canon, it's very centered around that.
Okay. All right.
So they're there, but apparently they got just enough intel from the trip to Hueco that the other captains were pretty much prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So that they have created a fake version of Karakura Town where they could actually fight.
Okay.
So it is pretty much a showdown between the 3 most powerful Arrancar, Aizen and his goons, and like all these other dudes, versus every captain that's available.
That's pretty cool.
And then the Vizards in addition.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have this huge blowout. But obviously no one can really fight Aizen because 1, he like ascended so he can pretty much regenerate from everything. He's perfectly immortal.
Okay.
And incredibly fast and powerful. And he also has the ability he has his illusion thing still.
Oh, okay.
So if he's able to just like turn that upside down, you lose because you can't tell where he is anymore.
Right. Very cool. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Huh.
I remember there was a fight that like had like 5 people coming at him, and like they all fought him and were like doing okay, and then one guy like stabbed him, and like the illusion melted, and they had stabbed like some other jobber or whatever, and they're like, "Wait, shit! When did you use your illusion?" And he's like, "When were you under the impression you were ever not under it?" Like, I used it before you got here. You've all been got, like, since the prequel arc.
Wow.
Which pretty much just confirms, like, yeah, there's no time limit on this. Once he gets you with it, he just has perfect hypnosis.
That's fucking pretty cool. God, he's such a cool villain.
Yeah.
He's such a good
and that's why Ichigo is such a good plot device, because he's the only one who hasn't ever seen it.
Oh.
Which means he's immune. Like,
right,
as long as he can't use that on him, he's fine.
Right, yeah. That's really cool.
So the captains take out the lieutenants, the Ichigo and the crew that's in space go and fight, when I say space, I mean Hueco.
Mm-hmm.
They go mop up there, and then they send someone to go get him. Ichigo reaches his final power tier by, like, having a meditation session with his Zombok Toe Spirit or whatever, which gets really weird when you think about it, like, when I talk about what happens afterwards. But anyway, he gets his final ability, which is pretty much just this, like, crazy strike.
Okay.
And then he has his showdown with Aizen, activates that final ability. And pretty much what that caveat is that it is this crazy attack. You can only use it once, and then it locks down all your powers forever.
Oh, well then.
So he pretty much, after that, one-shots Aizen. Like, after the fight. It's like, this is the last thing.
Right.
And then Aizen can't actually die.
Okay.
Because he got perfectly immortal. But, like, it also locked his powers away, as far as we know.
Okay.
So pretty much they put him in jail. Forever. And Ichigo loses his powers and goes back to Karakura Town.
Huh.
And so the reason this is the perfect ending,
it wraps everything up.
In addition to wrapping up everything so far, it perfectly mirrors the beginning.
Right, yeah.
Now remember, when he doesn't have his powers, he can no longer see ghosts. Which means he can no longer talk to his Shinigami friends.
Right, okay.
They're just gone.
Right.
So, at the beginning of the series, like episode 1, Ichigo is a kid who could see ghosts, and it bothered him.
Yep.
He wanted to not. At the end of the series, he's just a kid that can't see ghosts and misses them.
That's a really good bookend to the whole thing. Because it solves his problem from the beginning, but he sees what happens when you don't have what you want. So, that's pretty awesome. And then it kept going. For years, right? Like,
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
That ending was when I was in high school.
Oh, didn't it end when we were in college?
Yes.
Oh, good lord.
So that ending was perfect. That was the ending of Bleach for me.
Right, yeah.
I refer to everything after that as ammonia, which is, it's perfectly functional until you mix it with bleach.
Right. Huh. What the fuck did they do after that? Like, how do they keep it going? It doesn't...
Well, I mean, first they introduced this thing called the Fullbring, which are pretty much just Shinigami, except not.
Okay.
Because they're like these normal people that get like the ability to like draw out the energy of their weapons or whatever. And he's doing this thing that gives Ichigo his powers back, and then he goes to see the Shinigami and they're being invaded by like Quincy's, which was a cool plot device, but like, what? And then there's supposed to be like 26 of them because they're associated by letter.
Christ.
And then all of them are like their own thing, and they each have their own weird powers. But then the thing about it that's the worst for me is they all then reveal like, oh, okay, Ichigo's mom was a Quincy, which means he's also a Quincy, which makes him literally everything at this point. Because he is part human, part Shinigami, part hollow, part Quincy.
Of course.
He is all things.
God
and
bless.
It's awful.
That is awful. How does he lose?
I mean, he doesn't.
That's the point. That's what I mean. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like,
he gets like another really generic power up because all his power ups are incredibly generic. And it also turns out that like his Zanpakuto spirit isn't actually a Zanpakuto spirit because he wasn't properly a Shinigami until this point.
Oh, Christ.
It was like that his spirit was actually this vision of like this dude who's now the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
And like it had been emulating the Shinigami power to do whatever it is he was doing, but now he also is getting Shinigami powers, and it was a mess. And then at some point, the editors told him to wrap it up, and he had 3 weeks to do it.
That is so fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, well, now it ends. After, that's just... Like, it's just such a fucking... Like, from what I have read, and now I've heard a little bit that I missed, like, this had room to be, like, you know, what it was going to be. This, like, you know, the one of the big 3, one of the most important shonen manga ever, this big thing, to just kind of go out on a whimper is, like, kind of really sad.
Yeah.
Because it had, like you're saying, so much potential, such a cool fucking idea, all these cool characters and cool things happening, to just kind of stop.
The Wekamundo arc, which was that one that, like, I kind of glazed over until the end, overstayed its welcome a little, and probably wasn't quite as good as the Soul Society arc, but it was solid.
Right. Okay.
Like, there's some good stuff in there. You were routinely hitting peaks of, like, this is worth it.
Okay.
And then it wrapped up well. Like, that was the perfect ending to that series. Like, I didn't think Bleach could have a bittersweet ending.
Right.
I thought it was either going to end with, like, Ichigo wins, yay! Or that they just go, like, hard on the, like, nope, that guy wins.
Right.
Because, like, that is actually possible. Like, this is one of the series I actually would have bought that, like, the bad guy just became untouchable.
Right, yeah, because they definitely put the groundwork in. Like, Yeah, that's... Huh. I don't know. I like what Bleach kind of was and the importance of, I mean you saw it going to fucking convention and stuff, and it was fucking everywhere. Like it was huge, and now it's
my first cosplay was Bleach.
Right, and most people's were. I mean, I've never cosplayed, but yeah, like I mean, actually, I have. That's true. You were there, but like, like it's just never. It's just stopped being like no one cares. It's just dead. It's just gone forever. And it's just kind of weirdly sad. It's just like. It was such a big thing. It was so important and just kind of faded away. And like, I don't know. I guess My Hero Academia is the new big hotness, but
yeah,
like it's just,
and it's earned it.
Oh, it definitely earned it. Like I'm enjoying
what I've
the fuck
seen,
out of it.
like that show is phenomenal.
It's really.
Like, I haven't actually read it. I watched the show up until it is current. And it has blown the water out of everything I've seen.
Yeah, I actually was shocked. Like, I keep hearing people make parallels to Naruto, which I've only seen up to, like, a little past the tuning exam.
Well, I mean, that's the part that they're comparing it to.
Right, okay, that's what I figured, because that's what it seems like. I don't know what really, what is the time skip called in Naruto? Shippuden. I don't actually know anything about that, like, at all. Besides, like, the few things you've told me, like, I have never been more far away from a shonen series than Shippuden. Like, I know nothing about it.
Do we want to do the same thing for Naruto?
Sure, you go ahead, because I don't actually plan on ever reading Naruto. Yeah, if you actually want to break that shit down, I would love to hear it, because I actually don't have any intention.
I can break this down for you, or I could just lend you the Storm games.
I mean, you can break it down.
Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm are phenomenal. Like, they're actually... That is the way you should experience that series.
I mean, I can do both. You know, it's not the end of the world.
I mean, fair enough, but, like, that has the plot twists. That has everything.
Yeah, I don't mind you doing it here. It's fine.
All right, sure.
Like, I'm like, I know parts of things that happen, but, like, I don't know it completely.
This one's gonna be a lot longer.
It's a lot longer than Bleach, right? Like, actually a lot longer?
I mean, like, it's not a ton longer. It is, like, maybe 20% longer.
Okay. Because it ended also when we were in college, but I feel like it started a little before.
Yeah, and also, Naruto didn't have as big a fade-off.
Okay. I guess, yeah, because it ended on its own terms, right?
Yeah, no, it ended when it ended. I still think it probably should have ended one big bad earlier.
Okay.
But, like, it knew what it was doing. Like, it had an ending.
Okay.
As compared to Bleach just being like, and it's over.
Bleach literally goes out, like, when you have a balloon and you let the air out, and it just kind of makes that weird farting noise at the end. That's how it feels. That's how I feel Bleach ended up. Where it was like, oh, this is awesome, and then just dead. It's just like, oh, now I have this little thing of wet rubber. Wonderful.
See, now that's actually a really good thing, especially a really good analogy, especially if you take the actual ending as them trying to put the needle in and it just doesn't pop.
Yeah.
It just does the, like, whistle after that.
Yeah. It's just such a letdown. But yeah, go ahead, go into Naruto, because, like, what happens after the Chunin exam? I know Sasuke disappears and they go looking for him or something.
All right, before we do that, I just do want to make the quick aside about My Hero Academia.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Because it is pretty much taking the structure of what Naruto was up until the Chunin exams of, like, people of a really cool, high-powered position learning to be that.
Right.
Like, kids doing their best at things that are way over their head.
Mm-hmm.
And executing that to a T.
I mean, even right down to the main character being useless for most of it.
Yeah.
Like, just can't do anything.
Love that, like, for the first however long, he literally can't use his powers without blowing himself up.
No, he can't do anything. He's just like, if I do this, I'm in the hospital. Like, it's just, fucking...
How far have you gotten?
I just got to, I forgot the name of the town that Ida is in, but it's the one that he's in with Stain, and the attack just happened. So all the Numos or whatever are attacking, and, like, so Deku and Gran Torino are there, and they're like, okay, we gotta go be superheroes.
There's gonna be a really good fight soon.
I figured. But, I really like Stain. Stain is so fucking cool.
Stain is so cool. I love the way he's drawn.
Oh, it's awesome. So I love different. That. I love how he does the mangaka does that and draws, like, each of the people as, like, different things. Where, like, he's a different era of comics than All Might is, and then the main kids are a different era of comics, and, like, it's just fucking so cool. Actually, the last panel I just read was Ida taking his brother's name. That was the very last panel. I'm like, that was fucking awesome. I'm so fucking hyped right now. I thought he was decapitated for a second. Because the way the panel is drawn, it's just Stain's sword completely out, and then Ida's helmet flying away. Like, I guess he died. That's crazy. I mean, like,
that's probably intentional.
Yeah, like, I was like, I couldn't be like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. He's a child he's been on the job for like 4 days, and then this guy just has been murdering heroes left and right. I guess he's dead, but, like, it's fine. Just knocked his helmet off, and then he got to have a cool speech. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. It's been a really good read. I've been enjoying it.
So, cool thing to keep an eye out for.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is really, really good at character design.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that.
You know how Stain's tongue is kind of weird?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
It's awesome. It's fucking great.
So, like, keep an eye out for that.
That's awesome. Because, he is really good at it. Each character is just fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, I forget the bird guy's name, but, like...
Tokiyami.
Yeah, the first time he shows up, you're like, that's fucking cool. That's a cool fucking background character. And then, like, he's like, I guess he'll become a character. And, like, he drew him, like, it drew a little bit of an arc for him and gave him, like, a detailed power set. And, like, thank God, this is just so cool.
So far there has been one filler episode in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little after where you are. It just shows everybody else's internship.
Oh, it's awesome.
And that's what sold me so much on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I already knew that it was going to be great, but what sold me on the anime specifically was that they showed... most of that time was spent on Suyu, the Frog Girl's internship.
Okay.
And they have a throwaway villain in there, and his design is phenomenal. Like, there's so much. His name is Innsmouth, and he's a walking Cthulhu reference.
That's fucking awesome.
He has so many little Lovecraft ticks, and it just made me so happy.
That's fucking... I really do. Like, even, like, I think I said in the last episode, I talked about this, where it's just like, even if the story kind of gets, like, average, the character designs are going to keep me coming, because it's just so fucking visually cool, and everyone's just so well done.
From what I've been told, it doesn't get average.
It's good.
Because I actually have a few friends who have, like, read until current, and I think it's only uphill from here.
I know the last week was not great, apparently, because I checked the weekly Shonen Jump rankings now, and it was, like, in the middle of the pack, and then I was reading, I was in a thread, and they were like, well, that's what you get for doing some flashback chapter or something, so maybe there's, like, a down tick right now or something, I don't know, but it was, like, lower...
I mean, you can have a bad chapter.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the series is going to die forever, but, like, apparently it is the first time I've seen it not in the top, like, 3 or 4, so, like, it dropped to, like, maybe 7, I was like, that's weird, but there's a reason, I guess, so, but I've been just having a blast with it. It's so fun. It's just so fun. And I just got a bunch of other manga recommended to me. I forgot what they were called. I know Promising Neverland was one of them. Because that one I keep seeing really high on the ratings list. And I should probably read that. Because that sounds neat.
I finally got around to starting, or I guess reading more of Jojo Part 6.
Okay.
And I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I do.
I was about to ask that. Do you actually like it? Because I hate Part 6.
That's fine. Like, I could definitely get it. There have been a few times where I just had to stop and be like, wow.
Yeah.
That's really dumb. The guy whose power was invisible zombies.
Dude, it's just, there's so many things. That's my biggest problem with JoJo, is the amount of times I actually had that, wow, this is so dumb. Where I was like, if I was reading any other thing, I would not forgive this and be like, fuck this is terrible. Why am I forgiving this? I just felt like a weird logical fallacy, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to not read JoJo anymore. Like, I just can't I can't keep doing this, but then also claim to have any kind of, like, opinion on anything else. Like, it just doesn't feel like I'm being fair to other things.
I mean, the reason for that is because it's sort of the style. Like, it's never claimed to be consistent.
No, it's true.
Even back to Part 3, where Dio wasn't using his ice powers or his eye lasers.
Right. Yeah, I'm not, like, yeah, it's not perfect in that kind of way, but, like, I just...
No, I mean, what I'm saying is not that it's, like, not perfect or whatever. What I'm saying is that it was never that kind of series.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I guess it's true.
That's just not the type of thing it would do. If it had, it would almost seem out of character.
Right, yeah.
Like, it has always been about the moment and the experience.
Yeah, I guess it's true. It's definitely it
demands a higher suspension of disbelief.
It's definitely a chapter to chapter series and not a overarching series. Because like things like that. So did you read all of Part 5?
No, I've read none of Part 5.
Oh, okay.
I have skipped it because the series is coming soonish.
Oh, okay.
Like, I would much rather just watch the anime for all of it, but I've realized that I actually want to like just be able to talk about JoJo.
Okay.
And that, like, in order to do that, I should see as much of it as I can. So I'm going to read Part 6 and 7.
Okay.
Maybe 8? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to try to catch up.
I didn't get through 8. I got through about what was halfway. I want to say like chapter 30 when there were 52 when I was where I was. It's probably more now, but that's as far as I got. I actually, when you get through Part 5, I would like to talk to you about Part 5 because Part 5 it gets a lot of shit. I didn't think it was as bad as Part 6. But there's a.
I mean, like. Here's the thing about Part 6. Like, I enjoy it, like, because it is wacky, but, like, it's also, like, really grim compared to some of the earlier ones.
It's definitely a lot more death.
Yeah. And, like, I legitimately think when that becomes an anime, I'm going to have to play the drinking game of just take a drink every time someone has a chunk taken out of them. Because, like, holy shit, is it bloody?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean,
the number of times someone gets, like, a hole blown in them or dismembered or whatever, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
I would retire other characters.
And like, did you get to the tree thing? Does that mean something to you?
I like just got to it. Like the green baby has come, and Poochie just got it, and he has his weird eyelids.
No, I'm talking about the. This might be before that. Then where the tree power thing.
Tree power.
A guy like can make trees grow out of people, or something.
That was the baby.
Was that the baby? I forget the details, but that is such a graphic way to die.
Yeah.
That is a fate worse than death. You're just fucked right up. That is, yeah. I mean, when you get to part 5, there's a specific moment in part 5 that I want to talk to you about, because even though it's really dumb and shows the weakness of Araki's writing, it is my favorite thing about JoJo. It is my favorite. If I had to describe JoJo to someone and they've never seen it and they're going to come into it, I would use this moment because it's so far away and so they might forget about this. But it is my favorite fucking moment to describe like just his writing style and like why I think he's kind of a weak writer, but why it can still be kind of fun.
I kind of use Joseph's ass machine gun.
Yes.
that is my example. I just show them that clip.
This isn't really a clip. It's just kind of, because it's very like, it's like several pages and it's mostly just conversation, but the way they handle the whole, like, I want to say it's maybe like 4 or 5 chapters with this one character in particular. And then like it's exactly what, like, kind of my problem with it, but also it has some of the tinges of like, this is kind of fun, but like, it is kind of really dumb. It's just, so when you get through most of part 5, they're going to...
All right, we will chat about that.
Okay, yeah.
So here's something, like, do you remember when, like, right before Foo Fighters dies?
Okay.
They have, like, Weather Report comes out of the ward and makes it rain and, like, foggy, that type of thing. And then Poochie, like, illusions as him or whatever. I don't actually really know exactly what happened there, to be honest, because I didn't know illusions was one of his powers. But, like, that was the thing that happened.
Okay.
At that moment, that was such a, like, I was sold on Weather Report as a character.
I fucking hate Weather Report.
I get it, but, like, if that was just, if that actually played out the way it looked like it was supposed to, where it was just Weather Report, who had been injured, comes out and is just throwing haymakers with the big bad while everyone else is trying to resolve the plot point. Like, that is so cool for me. Because, like, his power is bullshit, but, like, it is my favorite kind of bullshit. Where it feels like someone gave him a one-sentence power description, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna use this.
My problem with Weather Report is his backstory and his ultimate ability. And once you get to those two things...
I've heard of the snails.
I fucking hate the snails so fucking much. Oh my god. I read all manga on my phone. I put my phone down, and I walked away. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He makes people think they're turning into fucking snails because of fucking lighting? Are you shitting me? What the fuck? I'm leaving. And I got up, and I walked away. I had to take a breather. I finished part 6, but I had to stop. Heavy Rain is the dumbest fucking ability in any fucking thing. Not just manga, not just anime, anything. It is so fucking brainless. I cannot fathom how that series is allowed to continue after Heavy Rain. What the actual fuck is Araki smoking? What is happening? Oh my god. I was in shock. I still am in shock that I was reading that. I'm supposed to actually continue. Fuck Heavy Rain. Fuck Weather Report. That's all I have to say on that.
I will have to see. Like, that's one of those things that, like, I don't know. I might just be fine with it. Because, like...
You also know about it. Like,
yeah.
Like, because
the reason I might be fine with it, though, is because, like... what was Kira's power? Kira's power was explosions.
Yeah.
And then he can explode time.
Yeah, that got silly. But we're already on the way out.
It's always been like that. Like, what is Jotaro's power? He's a punch ghost. He moves so fast. How fast? Time stop fast.
Well, his had weaknesses. Jotaro's at least.
Right, no, I don't care about strengths and weaknesses. There have been tons of OP stats.
It's just...
But, like,
I don't know.
It's just like I've taken for granted how dumb some of these abilities are.
Like Heavy Rain, I've explained Heavy Rain to other people who are starting Part 6. I'm like, if you want to skip Part 6, it's fine. Let me explain to you why I think it's fucking terrible. I explain Heavy Rain, similar to what I just did there. And I was explaining this to Fred, and he went and looked it up. I go, just Heavy Rain is so fucking dumb. You can stop reading Part 6 if you want, because Part 7's not bad. It's just too long.
I've heard Part 7's really good.
It's a lot of fun. It's just too long.
Yeah.
It's like it just goes on for too long. And some of the powers are weird too, but like powers aren't as important. Like there's like a good chunk of the manga that doesn't do stands. Like they exist in the thing, but like they're not the center of it. It's not why conflicts happen, it's not why conflicts are solved. It's just kind of it's different. It's a different pacing. It's just too long because he went from a 24-ish page chapter to like a 50-ish page chapter. And also the amount of chapters is longer in Part 7. So there's more to a chapter and there are more chapters to it. So it's way longer. But he literally went over on the wiki, looked up Heavy Rain and goes, well, that's fucking dumb. Then kept reading and goes, yeah, that was fucking dumb. It's just like, it's really frustrating. Heavy Rain is frustrating. And like there are people out there who have like dumb powers. Like, yeah. But it's just, I just Heavy Rain is so fucking frustrating to me.
I mean, I've heard, I don't actually know what it is, so don't tell me. Yeah. But I've heard King Crimson is similarly shit. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Kind of. People blow that one out of proportion. It's
hard to wrap your head around?
No, I can help you wrap your head around it, but I don't want to spoil what it is.
Okay, so just don't do it yet.
But it's two powers combined. There are two powers that have been identified already. It's just them combined. That's all it is. It's not that bad. It seems really complicated because it's, again, time travel bullshit, so all that kind of craziness. But like, it's not complicated. It's not as complicated as everyone thinks it out to be. At least to me.
Makes sense.
But like, it's just like Heavy Rain isn't complicated. It's just stupid. Yeah, it's like this is just.
See, I'm all in on silly after Feng Shui guy.
Which one was that?
The random assassin in the jail who was like 70, drinks his own piss, and his power is Feng Shui.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember. I mean, I hate Part 6, so like.
I mean, yeah.
It's not just Heavy Rain. I just feel like that was the peak of bullshit of an entirely awful arc.
That's fair. Like it's if you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, I'm not saying.
Like, I don't think that it's actually quality worse than other arcs. It just has a different. It makes different choices. Like if you like how silly Jojo gets sometimes, you'll like it more. If you prefer just like the storytelling and like the mystery stand battles and like those type of things, you might not. Like it is definitely not for everyone, but I don't think it's actually bad so far. It's just weird. I mean,
I guess, and that is also, that's kind of why I stopped paying attention to JoJo in general. But like, I mean, where do you draw the line for bad? Like what has to be bad to be like, what is bad? Like if you think like certain, like, I don't know, like how, if you go into JoJo saying like, oh, this can just be weird and silly, like then JoJo can't be bad, but like how, like it just doesn't seem.
Well, just when it stops being entertaining. So like for you, it stopped working.
I guess.
That's fine. But like people like Part 6. Not everybody likes Part 6, but like there's a reason we got a Part 7.
Well, Part 7, You'll see.
I'm not saying anything about Part 7.
No, I'm not saying like you'll see at the end of Part 6 why a Part 7 exists the way it does.
Right, but what I'm saying is it didn't get canceled.
Right, but well, we can talk when you get there.
Okay.
Because it's different. But I don't know. There are other things I hate about Part 6. I think Jolene sucks. She doesn't do anything. She's like like I hear a lot of people argue like why like Giorno, the guy from Part 5, is a bad JoJo, but like Jolene is also bad. She's just a girl that you can waifu up. Like I don't understand how she benefits.
She's a low power JoJo, but I don't know she's all that much worse than normal.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, she's direct. She's the JoJos before her are way stronger, like by a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean. All of the JoJos since Jotaro have had, like, horrendously overpowered stands.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. Like, I don't actually know much about Giorno's stand, but I've been told it's ridiculous, and I believe people.
It's a bag of all tricks. It just can.
So then, like, having Jolene, whose power is, like, I have a punch ghost. It can also do string, and I'm pretty creative with it. Like, that's nice. I kind of like going back to the roots of, like, this is mostly just a creative fighter.
I mean, she doesn't fight, though. That's the other thing. Like, I don't feel like she fights enough.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stands she fights are puzzle stands, which I enjoy. I really like puzzle stands.
Yeah, that's true. She does fight a lot of puzzle stands. I don't know. I don't think Jolene's that interesting. And, like,
that's fair. There's
a villain in One Piece that uses string also, and I think he's just more interesting with, like, how he battles with string and stuff. So, I don't know. I feel like it's just...
Oh, that reminds me. I read a thing about One Piece the other day that I think you would enjoy. You just read the manga, right?
What? I'm sorry, what was that?
You just read the manga, right? You haven't actually done anything with the anime?
No. Apparently it doesn't go great after the time skip. I'm not sure. I don't...
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently there is one filler, like, mini arc that is really good. So I should try and get that for you, just because I think you'd enjoy it.
I'll fucking always do more One Piece. One Piece is just... It does the opposite of Jojo, where, like, the overarching narrative, I feel like, is why you're there, but with the idea of adventure being, like, the short story. I forget what the phrasings are, but there's a writing thing, you might know what I'm talking about, where it's like you write the top story, and then, like, the bottom story is what's going on day to day. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I kind of get what you're talking about.
And so, like, the bottom story here is just the idea of adventure and then solving the problems that adventures cause, but the top story is, like, it's so well strung together, where characters show up, and you're like, motherfucker, that's right. Like we were saying earlier with, like, the, you're rewarded for kind of, like, sticking it out. Paying attention, all that kind of stuff. That shows up so often in One Piece, where, like, this character shows up. This character's been mentioned a whole bunch. Oh my god, there they are. Like, that kind of stuff. It just plays out in a way that, like, just feels complete. And the battles are fun, and, like, the way powers are introduced and stuff. Some of the powers are kind of silly, but they're only there for, like, a couple pages. So it's like, it's been a fun ride with One Piece. I've been enjoying it a lot.
That's good. I'm glad. See, here's the thing. One of the things that I liked most about Part 3 in JoJo, like, the reason that I think that our opinions on this differ so much, is because I loved the episodic version of it. Like, for the first half of Part 3, like, before Dio's even directly involved, when it's just like, we went to a place, and now here is a villain.
Wait, like, before Egypt? Like, all that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it, because it was just single episodes of, like, here is a stand, solve it.
I love Part 3. I don't think Part 3 is bad.
No, that wasn't really my point, though. But, like, I prefer that to Part 4, which had a more overarching story. Like, Part 3 has that story, but it isn't as important. Like, they have a goal.
Right,
but, like, it doesn't really come up in a day-to-day thing.
Right.
So, like, you could just pick up any episode of Part 3 and just hand it to someone who's never seen JoJo. And it'll be fun. Might not make the most sense, but it'll be fun.
Right. I guess my question would be, does a series, like, if you're, like, should it not be more towards you who's watching it all the time, as opposed to, I'm just going to show this one thing to some, like, I don't know. I feel like it should be.
I don't think it has to be. Like, the thing is, like, as long as it knows what it is, and JoJo does, then, like, it's fine.
I guess.
For me, from what I've seen, I actually think Part 4 and a little bit to Part 2 are the exceptions to the rule.
Well, there's a theory that I've heard, that JoJo's going a hot and cool cycle. So, or cool to hot. So, like, Part 1, he's cool. He's like, very, calculating. He's a battler. He's serious. He's very serious. Jonathan. They go to Joseph, and he's exciting and vibrant and full of energy and doing all these crazy plans and all that shit. And then you go to Part 3, and Jotaro is very cool, calculating. He's fucking serious. And then you go to Yosuke, and it changes again and again. So it kind of goes in that order, back and forth. So, like, but I don't know if that really keeps going past Part 6, because I feel like Jolene's...
Is Giorno cool?
Yeah, he's pretty serious, yeah. He's pretty...
Yeah, so then Jolene is not.
I don't know. I don't think she's in prison, so like her chances of having like kind of being kind of goofy and fun is.
Well, she's definitely fiery. Like that is.
Yeah, I guess she's kind of fiery. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's true. But yeah, like they kind of go in that pattern over and over again. But
yeah, like I'm just saying, like there's nothing wrong with having a series that's episodic, and I could definitely see why that isn't super evident in JoJo because they don't really focus on it, and they did do part 4, which was like very much an extended story.
Right, and like that, I don't know. I feel like that's. I don't know. I like that more. I think I definitely think it's more.
That's fine, but there's a place for both.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't. I just don't. I think JoJo as a whole is not what everyone says it is. It's kind of my thing. I feel like as a whole, it's less wonderful.
What do you think everyone says it is?
It's like it's amazing that JoJo's this great thing. It's just like I don't think it has. I don't think it should be compared. Sure, I don't think it should. I don't think we should ignore the fact of how important it was to all sorts of shonen and other things I fucking love. Part 4 is Persona 4. They are fucking identical. Like it's fucking should be copyright infringement. Like they're so close, but like it's not. I don't know. Like it's an important series, but I don't think it's a great series. I think it's a fun series, not a great. This should be the best. I don't know.
My take and how I generally think that it should be viewed is that JoJo is a really fun series that established a lot of tropes that have since then been done better.
Yes. But I guess my point also is that the later ones, being 6 to 8, are not, they're not doing anything new. They're kind of just running the same engine that they had, that set up all these tropes and made all these things that were better and did all these things. But like 6, 7, and 8 don't really do anything crazy and new. 7 takes the formula of JoJo and mixes it up a little bit, but like it takes too long to get there, I guess. So that's why I feel like that one suffers a little bit.
Honestly, I feel like from part probably 6 onward, but I don't know when. Like, it was just, at some point, Araki just enjoys what he's doing. Like, I mean, he might not be doing it he might not be, like, invigorating the style anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it stopped being important and just started being fun. Like, it lost that part of it, but, like, that's fine. Like, Araki does, I don't want to say combat very well, but he does conflict very well, where you introduce a villain and combat in JoJo is like a magic trick.
Okay.
That it has a very precise set of things that it goes through each step and is very interesting because of it. Because it has this like mystery of the encounter when you first come into someone and you have no idea what they do or how they're doing it. It's just like something is happening. And that is something that not a whole lot of shows do, but some have, and they do it very well. And I enjoy that a lot. Of just having this entirely new power set that isn't just like, oh, this guy might be stronger than me, like he does in Dragon Ball Z, but just, I don't know even the approach that this person is working on. It's I might be in danger. Like, the acknowledgement that this must be an enemy stand, like that type of thing is like hokey. But like, there's so much to it that it can be done infinitely. You can do a new stand every week until the end of time, and it will always be fun. Because you can have anything for its internal rule set. You could just have this...
Right, because stands don't have rules.
Yeah.
Like, he briefly set it up in part 3, but since then, they don't exist. There are no rules. Stands can do anything.
They have their own rules.
Right, each one individually has their own rules, yeah. Which can be... I can see the appeal of that, Like, where it's just each one is so... Like, the fucking part 4 one, that was the telephone pole thing. What was that called?
Yeah, that was great.
Like, that's super... Like, that doesn't make sense with the rest of the stands that we've seen, but it's a stand. It exists on its own thing or whatever. The ranges even don't... They're not consistent. Like, there's I think... What was it? One of them in part 6, like, the guy's on a plane, and he's fucking using the stand. So, like, there's no... I haven't
seen that one yet.
It's nearish the end.
Gotcha.
I forget. But like, yeah, like there's no real rules to them, which I can see the appeal, but I have more fun with things when there's an established rule set to like the general cause. Like One Piece, there are pages on the wiki, describing devil fruits and how they work and, you know, the different types of them. And then you see how they use that rule set established there and how they apply to the current fight we're seeing.
Well, that's great for specific characters. Like, I feel like if you're going to have a recurring character, yeah, that is the best way to do it. Like, I bet if you look up any JoJo's stand, you'll find something like that.
But you can introduce the villain of the week, but we know, like, you know, something happens and like the attack goes to them. Oh, they're a Logia. Great. Now like the tides of the battle have changed because they're this kind of devil fruit user as opposed to the other one. Like, but that guy can only just show up for a little bit. He can disappear later. So I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like that has a flow to it it's more rewarding and can still have that like flavor of the monster of the week feel where it's like, oh, this guy showed up and da-da-da. Like I don't know.
All right. I mean, I'm more in favor of like the chakra nen stand side of things where it's just like, what does this person do? Stuff.
Well, no, like the devil fruits work that way. They just like each one is drastically different, but there's a like nen, there's a rule set on top of that. So
right, but I mean like that rule set is very flexible. Like the guy, the Chimera Ant who had like the ability to like grab people's powers, and then like the one that he ended up taking with like the surfboard or whatever, like they're just out of nowhere. Like they have a very vague sense of rules, but like they also have the ability to just say this guy's a specialist and hand wave it. Right.
That's the one work around, but there's very few specialists in Hunter x Hunter.
That's fair.
And like I don't know.
There's something that's really hard to categorize.
Yeah, they're hard to categorize, but like I wouldn't say that Nen is poorly defined. Like I don't know how the anime.
No, it's not.
I don't know how the anime described it, but there are pages and pages between chapters in the manga that describe how everything works and how all the tests work and the rule sets and all those work. I don't feel like specialists are like a very strange small case, but primarily everything is established. And even when they're a specialist, to be a specialist, you're two kinds combined. Like, it's not even like...
that was never mentioned.
Yeah, that's what that is. To be a specialist, you're like, you know, you're an enhancer and, you know, whatever else, like, together. Maybe you're three together. But, like, specialist is not without definition. It's not like, oh, here's the one that we don't really know. It's like this... everything is, like... If anything, actually, I would say Hunter x Hunter is the exact dramatic opposite of JoJo, where everything is so rigid and structured out. Like, the guy who... I forget the guy's name. The guy who writes Hunter x Hunter is a fucking slut for rules. There are pages of rules for everything. The Hunter exam, the Hunter election has pages on who's running, what the rules are to elect. Pages. There's pages on what Nen does and how Nen works. Pages on different tournament stuff. He is, like, Mike and I joke about it all the time. He's a fucking slut for rules. He loves rules. Like, it's just crazy. Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's, and like that can get like crazy where it's like, oh my God, again, another fucking rule set? Like, we just did this. I don't need to know every fucking person that's running for fucking chairman of the Hunter board. Like, I don't like...
I guess it's more of a, like, those rules were very well put together.
Right.
So that you can do whatever you want in them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I feel like JoJo doesn't have that.
I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe it's not, like, the best. I'm not saying that it's, like, perfect. I'm just talking about, like, that it's intentionally flexible. Like, you can have this thing where it's difficult to identify exactly what is happening, and that's what makes it so compelling.
But you have a definition. So, like, even if it's hard to, like, identify, and you go into a battle, and you're like, I don't know what this is. This is concern. I don't know, like, how this is going to work. Once things start showing up, you're like, okay, I have a general idea of what bucket they kind of fall in and how they're powered. Like, JoJo is every episode...
What I'm saying is that doesn't actually bother me. Like, it's not that much of a difference, and that... Like, it is more about whether you care about that or not. And that is how you measure whether it's good or bad. Like, it's hard to say that something's, like, a different style. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example for another show that I would generally consider good that doesn't have, like, really specific rules.
Because all the ones I can think of that are, like, I guess, but, like, I don't know. I guess Gurren Lagann's probably the closest comparison to JoJo because of it's more about the experience than it is the.
It is
the world.
Bizarre.
Right.
It is there because, like, you're there for the experience and this crazy thing. And, like, they have a rule in that, like, oh, yeah, fighting spirit can change things. What does that mean exactly? Well...
Yeah, I guess it's true. Because, like, I feel like... I can't speak for the chakra system, but I feel like for the ones I've read, Devil Fruit and Nen are very well defined. So well that they can be flexible and there are ways to do things. Which gotcha. I feel is a benefit from, like, that's a sign of a good writer, where, like, they can have your JoJo, I wonder what this is enemy stand, you can have that tone, but also structured where, okay, once we start figuring out the pieces, we piece together things with the characters, we can then start structuring it together, and we have, like, a concept of what's happening, as opposed to, like, so this guy controls a part of the desert and isn't, or, like, oh, this guy is a car, like, it's or, you know, whatever, however it is that JoJo wants to do things, you know, whatever, but it's so, I'm going to say tiring. It's so tiring to just constantly be like, what is this now? Why is this happening? What's going on? Huh?
That's fair. I mean, like, yeah, if that is not what you're there for, then I get it. Mm-hmm. That'll tire you out. And, like, I'm saying, like, that is what I would say is its strength. Like, I actually really enjoy finding these characters and just trying to figure out, like, what is happening? Because, like, that is the whole point. Like, after they're explained, 90% of them make sense. Probably even 95. I feel like Weather Report's probably the only one that just is, like, completely batshit.
Yeah.
As compared to, like, just weird.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I don't remember there's one in 7 that's like a forest or something. I forget. Yeah. So there are a couple that are, like, wacky, but I mean, I don't know. That's not to say I did not enjoy JoJo when I was enjoying it.
Oh yeah, totally.
But, like,
I understand why you'd burn you out.
Right. I definitely feel like the word tired fits it perfectly because it is just the same. It's pretty much the same thing over and over again. But the reason it feels fresh and new is because everything is so different from the last thing you saw. But after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chapters, to still not understand how things are working, why things work, they do. The way they do, why things are happening. Even that's not even just talking stands. Certain story beats. Like, there's a thing in part 8 that's just like, I don't understand why this is here. We already have enough silliness going on elsewhere. Why would you make this character do this? Like, it's very tiresome. And it's also to say, like, it's tiring because the chapters become so long. Chapters are 50 pages long. Like, it's...
Gotcha.
It's like, you know, and, like, that might help flesh out certain things and, like, you can almost do, like, you know, mini arc structures, like, you know, almost have acts within your chapters, but they're 50 pages long. So you sit down to quickly read something, you know, you might not be able to finish it in, like, you know, whatever. It might take you forever just to get through something, but it's just like, okay, I just want to move on here. I don't want to. So I definitely got super tired of just JoJo and its format and structure and just, you know, I'm definitely coming from a jaded, tired place, and you're definitely fresh and new with the whole thing. So it's definitely gonna be a lot more like, I don't know. It's kind of like, so it's just, I would like to know what you think after getting through, like, a big swath of it and just kind of seeing the whole thing. But I mean, it might benefit everyone to wait for the anime to come out, because I've never seen any of the anime, so I don't even. I've seen the openings,
so good.
And the openings are a lot of fun. The openings are very, very well done. So, like, maybe it's just beneficial to take those breaks to be
what
like.
What did you think of part 1?
It's okay.
Okay.
Short and kind of boring, but like it's so short that it's, like, not offensive.
All of part 1 is 9 episodes long.
Okay.
It is dumb. I love it, but it is dumb.
It's just, yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I remember parts of it, but it's just like, whatever. Just it is so short.
It's just blazingly fast. They introduce and remove plot elements pretty much on a whim.
Right.
And I really love part 1.
Okay.
And that's probably why I still like JoJo.
Okay.
Because it just does shit. And, like, yeah, it'll explain it later.
Right.
But, like, the first 3 episodes of JoJo is about adopting an evil child, pretty much.
Yeah, that's about it.
And then a vampire.
Yeah, I guess it's true. There's definitely a pacing thing in that first few episodes, or first few chapters that are like, okay, guess we're moving along here.
Yeah, and then, like, they introduce, like, sunlight kung fu.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and then, like,
that's
part 2 is just, like, this suspension of disbelief circus.
Yeah, I had coming back into, rather reevaluating part 2 and Joseph as a character. Because another thing I dislike a lot about the structure of JoJo is so much of things happen off camera and off page, whatever the terminology you would use for this. That's just kind of like, it's just super silly to be like, oh, well, while you weren't looking, but it's like, I also wasn't looking, asshole. Like, how was I supposed to know this was your plan? Because you just chose to not include it on the. So it's like it's just super annoying to have like so much of the linchpin moments of battles to just be like, oh, well, while you weren't looking, which was a second, I was able to do this entire thing, which made sense for like Jotaro because his stand moved lightning fast. So I forget which fight it was, but something was going to hit him over the head and like crush him. But in that fraction of a second, Star Platinum punched a hole in the ground and then he saved himself. So like his had a reason for it to be acceptable, but like, you know, it's just the amount of that happening was kind of annoying. Where it's like, it's less so, because obviously it's kind of Joseph's character too, where a lot of times he's like, oh, while you were doing this, I strung a bunch of strings up or whatever he did in that chariot fight. I forget exactly the details of that. You know, and like he's constantly doing that, but that's kind of who he is. He's kind of he feigns fear and he feigns like, you know, stupidity.
So what I'm saying is like all these like crazy shit that you're taking issue with after getting to part 7 or part 6 has been there from the beginning.
No, and like that is why I guess it becomes so tiring. It's just like this is still going on. Nothing is really changing.
I mean, I understand why someone who sort of likes it wouldn't want to go through however many 100 chapters of it.
Right.
But like I found that like maybe anime is just a better format for it.
I think it is because it can cut some of the fat, and due to production cost, you have to take a break. You are forced to stop watching it and stop like taking in the crazy silliness. And then you can be like refreshed when the next thing comes up. You're like, oh, right, this is JoJo. Stupid stuff happens. You know, maybe that's just a better format for it. But like having just read through it, you know, and I'm not like a speed reader of manga either. I fucking take like weeks off. But like still, it's like this is just, it's super tiring to just constantly
Talking about bringing something to its logical extreme, what did you think of Fooly Cooly?
See, Fooly Cooly, I'm not in love with like everyone else is. I definitely feel like it's kind of a weird experimental way to kind of explain kind of growing up in a way, like a weird experimental metaphor for growing up. But like it's so short. Like it's kind of like part 1. It's so short that like even if it's kind of like at points like what the fuck, it's like unoffensive because it stops. It's just like before you have time to be like what the fuck, it's over. So it's like, you know. But it's definitely like it's closer to like an experimental film than it is like a series. I don't know.
So here's the thing: the reason JoJo's is popular is the same reason Fooly Cooly is getting a second season.
And what's that?
People like wacky. Like there is a niche, or at least a market for like things that aren't 100% explained, but it's just enjoyable and fun and weird.
But like I feel like in Fooly Cooly's case, it's telling like it's a metaphor.
Yeah, but not everything is.
But like a lot of it is. It's either a metaphor or directly a reference to something in culture of the time that it was being produced.
Totally, but like
JoJo doesn't have that.
What percent of people actually care?
I would say a decent chunk of them.
Yeah,
because like even if you don't, or if you're not cognizant of the metaphor of growing up that it is, you're going to subconsciously have that understanding. Like you're going to relate to things that are happening, and maybe not all the visual stuff because a lot of it is from a male perspective, but like females are still going to enjoy it as well. Like
okay, I can't really argue with like subconscious stuff.
Like I that's what I feel like Fooly Cooly benefits from there. Because like there are things that I watch and I can't put into words why I enjoy it or watch or read or whatever, and I don't know why I enjoy it. And then I find someone else sits down and they explain it. I'm like, oh, you know what? You're actually putting into words how I feel that I couldn't do myself. So I feel like Fooly Cooly is the same thing like that, where even if you're not like, oh, it's a metaphor for growing up and maturity and like all this stuff, and you just see it as a wacky fun thing, there is a structure to the way the story is told where it felt planned and decided on, whereas JoJo feels like he literally sits down on a Monday, although he does it monthly now. So he sits down, he writes his chapter, and he goes away and never thinks about it again. As he sits back down, he like skims it and goes, that's what was happening, and he writes it again. It doesn't feel like it's a structured thing. It doesn't feel like it was planned at all. It feels as if each individual chapter is him just kind of writing off the cuff. His stream of consciousness just going. That's why plot details disappear. That's why power details disappear. That's why certain characters, like even some of the like you're saying, like the Dio stops with the ice powers and the laser eyes. He probably literally forgot about that because he just wasn't.
No, he absolutely did. He said so in an interview.
Right. So like I didn't even know that, but it's so noticeable that he doesn't keep notes. Like the Oda, the guy who writes One Piece, he has pages of notes of every major characters, their powers. Some of these haven't even shown up yet, but he has all of their powers decided, so he can now plan ahead how this power plays into the main story, how it plays into the top story, how it plays into the bottom story, how he can now structure it out so it feels rewarding to the reader and goes, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, that's why that's happening there. Da 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 da. But like JoJo literally feels like he sits down whenever it's monthly, so whenever he sits down to work on it, he sits down, he works on it, and might skim through to see what the scenery was and then continue to write. And it just seems that I don't feel like it's a direct comparison to a Fooly Cooly because Fooly Cooly had
fair enough. It was tight,
right?
But I was more saying like that there is definitely a popularity there that has nothing to do with its content.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people that just like it because it's weird.
I guess I can't fault that. It's not something I can resonate with.
Is a great art piece. Art pieces don't get into every anime club in America.
Right. I guess that's true. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's not true. I don't know. It's hard. It's tough to say because like it's just so. I just feel like all of it's such a unique. I don't know. I just feel like JoJo gets more credit when that's not.
That's almost definitely accurate. It's not like the pinnacle of anything. It's just. There's very few things nowadays that still do what it does. It's almost old-fashioned at this point.
Definitely that. It definitely feels that way. I definitely agree with that.
When it was starting, it was incredibly ahead of its time.
Right, definitely. I cannot disagree. No matter what I'm saying here, I do not take away how important it was to the genre of shonen. Shonen is not where we are today. Things I love are not what they are without JoJo's existence.
Right.
It's just...
And I legitimately think that the structure of stand battles is why we get things like Death Note and Psycho Pass now, because that showed the appeal of those mind versus mind fights.
Right. Right, exactly. And it literally is a mind versus mind. Even if they're punching each other, it's a mind battle.
Yeah.
It's whatever. So...
Because there are rules, and one of them's trying to figure out the other one's rules.
Right. So, like I said, rules aren't a bad thing when it comes to manga. It's just most manga and shonen stories set that up ahead of time, whereas JoJo is every time he sits down, he's rewriting the rules to the thing that happens to benefit the story he's wanting to tell. So like it's just not. I feel like there are better
ways. There's a place for it.
There are better. I feel like like you're saying, there are things that do it way better. It's just, but JoJo, oh my god. Didn't think I would ramble on about that forever.
Story of my life.
Dude, yeah, seriously. Like, it's just... I don't know. But, I guess we should probably wrap up since we're going on to 4.
Probably? We are like 4 hours in.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one comes out. It's either going to be in 2 parts or 1, but regardless, it's going to take me a little while to put this one together. So probably around halfway through the week. Maybe a little delayed because of the length of this. I want to go through the whole thing, and then I got to take your audio and do everything.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of work on that.
But maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. This is the first time I'm really like, this should be theoretically easy, but also there might be kinks, so we'll see. But
all right, well, I believe in you.
But this was actually pretty good. Just basically this is good. We always.
I hope listeners involved Nick rambles about long-running anime.
That's all that matters, because I enjoy just sitting down and talking about long, stupid shit. I mean, we always do this. Whenever we just talk, we'll just argue about, not even argue, just try to unpack Kingdom Hearts for hours and stuff. It happens all the time, so.
It's great. Again, if you ever want me back on this, I'm around.
Oh, yeah. Whenever, I'm just.
All right, cool.
I will never, if anyone wants to be on, I'm never going to turn them down, So
right.
we'll just
you do your sign off, or
with that I will. No, I'll do that now.
Right.
So yeah, we'll end with this massive episode of discussing long form anime and just other stuff in general. But it was good. Thanks for coming on, Nick. Do you want to plug anything before you leave?
Oh, yeah, sure. I already plugged Keelmers, which is down in the description. Or actually, it might not be. It might be on the last one. But for me personally, every Tuesday I am streaming at 7 o'clock usually. At
Eastern
Twitch, time. Eastern time. At twitch.tv/NickTheDM. We're currently doing a playthrough of Psychonauts.
Oh, nice.
I've never actually had the chance to play, so it's really interesting. And then going forward, it could be anything. Come by, see what you like.
Sounds cool. I've been in a few times. I've popped in, so it's a good time.
It's fun.
But yeah, so thanks for doing this. Feel free to, whenever if you have something you just want to shout about, whatever, we'll see whatever the schedule is, and you're welcome to come back whenever. But,
nice.
All right, cool. So thanks for doing this. And to everyone else, have a nice time and day, whatever, words, and loving kisses.